KFXX, KWJJ, HD2, Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the #1 Oregon Ducks can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game with a win tomorrow at Camp Randall against Wisconsin. 4:30 kick on NBC. Coverage right here on the Fan starts with the Center and the St. Tailgate show at 9 a.m. Ducks Game Day with Dirt, Dusty, Anthony Newman starts at noon, and stick around after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State looking to end their 4-game losing streak tomorrow in Colorado Springs against Air Force. 12:30 kick on the CBS Sports Network. The Beavs are 3-point favorites, and tonight UCLA in Seattle facing Washington. That's a 6 o'clock kick on Fox. The Huskies are 3.5-point favorites. In the NFL, the Bills will be without tight end Dalton Kincaid Sunday at the Chiefs due to a left knee injury suffered in last week's win over the Colts. Buffalo already without wide receiver Keon Coleman, and on the hard court, Blazers off until Sunday when they wrap up the homestand against the Hawks. 3 o'clock matinee on K2 Channel 2.2 over the air, Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers then hit the road for a 5-game trip. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan. It's time for a noon kick.
Let's go, babe. Come on, let's have some fun, man.
This is Danny and Dusty on Football Friday.
You gotta see it. You gotta see it.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
It's a Football Friday here on Danny and Dusty. Dusty en route to Madison, Wisconsin. Will Ortner in. Jeff Rust behind the glass.
Holla at your boy.
Hey,
What's up?
It's going to be one of those days. I've already had people yesterday ask.
Friday?
It's a Friday. I had people ask yesterday, Danny, what's wrong with your voice? I've been doing radio every day on top of basketball and podcasts, and my voice is going. Hopefully we can get through the day. It's already cracked like 3 times talking this morning.
Well, I guess at least people only come to you and say, what's wrong with your voice? To me, it's like, what's wrong with your face?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's a good way to go.
And this happens a lot when you go through puberty. So I'm sure, 40 years old, that's when most people kind of finally get through the last little bit.
Time to change.
Midlife puberty, as it were.
Isn't that what starts the crisis? You re-go through puberty? Is that not how the human body works?
Yeah.
Then it's time to buy a T-top Camaro.
There you go. Ooh.
I'd go.
What's your midlife crisis car going to be?
The new Corvette?
The new Corvette?
Those are bad.
Corvette.
Yeah.
What's the new Corvette? What kind?
Have you not seen it?
No,
it
I'm
looks
looking
like,
at it right
it
now.
looks like a Lambo.
See, like I'm not.
It's like a
I've never been a big Corvette-man. Like the old school, like the Stingray Corvette was the last good one until this current one. This current one, it looks like a supercar.
Yeah, no,
This
it
is
looks-
cool.
It's bad.
There's like 5 of them. In
this.
Newburgh, and
Yeah.
they all have like the Lambo style paint scheme. where
Yeah,
it's like
we got a neighbor
super
guy up the street
bright
that's got
color.
one.
The Stingray?
Yeah, there's like a blue one that has like a perfect
I like the blue one.
it's like that sky blue, but it's somehow it's both flat and glossy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's super like that new paint style is super interesting. But there's
Mhm.
also like that Lamborghini orange, like bright,
Right, like traffic
mandarin.
cone orange.
Yeah, there's that. And there's a lime green one, and then there's a white and a red one.
I like the white one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the white one right now.
That's what the
sweet.
neighbors got. Yeah, is the white one.
Well, you don't want the red one because the red one means you're more likely to get pulled over.
Yes. Well,
For speeding.
that's where you go with the. I'm a big fan of the black car.
Ooh,
In
there you
in
go.
one like that, yeah. Go
But
with
yeah,
the black car.
that Stingray, it's a pricey little beast.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's like 170,000. So
I
it's
was
like
gonna say I have one on here that says 77.
it's a brand new one.
Oh, I wasn't even talking brand
no,
new.
this is
Yeah.
24.
I was talking like I was talking the old Stingrays from like late 70s, early
no,
80s
the
with
brand-
the flared fenders and such.
The brand new one is like the baseline. The entry model is 70. But
Gotcha.
if
if you
you're
want all the bells and whistles,
look, if I'm If
You
I'm
want it
getting
nice
a
and
midlife,
pretty.
if I'm getting a midlife crisis car, I'm getting that Z06.
What about the Batmobile, dude? That's getting put up for auction. There's
Yeah,
like
what is
10 of them.
10 of them,
Yeah,
right?
dude. What if you got one of
Well,
those?
no, they're over $1 million each, or
I
was
mean,
it like
I think it's
3?
over 2.
I mean, look, Zuck and Bezos and those guys.
There's a
just started
lot.
Come in and like, I want one.
no,
Yeah.
dude. Some stupid streamer like David Dobrik is gonna have one of these.
You're not wrong.
Aiden Ross is gonna have it on some stream with Trump, and they're gonna be
Oh.
driving around in the Batmobile.
I saw some video of a fireman trying to break into like a passenger side window of the Cybertruck, and they couldn't break it. It's like, hey, you know what? That's a fantastic idea. Make it so the first responders cannot extricate you from your vehicle in an emergency.
Smart. Yeah. Looks like $3 million for the Batmobile.
Yeah.
So, do you guys ever see Hassan Whiteside's truck?
No.
No.
He had a 2020 Jeep that he converted into basically a tank. He turned it into a 6-wheeler.
Ooh.
Yeah, that thing was like what do you call it? It's like Big Bertha, Big Mom,
Big Betty.
Hold on, let me Google's. Big Shirley.
Big Shirley.
Big Shirley.
I think you got to go like some sort of alliteration there. You can't
Yeah.
go Big Shirley, like Super Shirley.
I don't know. Big Shirley, that's a
Big
waitress
Shirls.
in a like Oklahoma City diner that's worked there for 45 years.
See, maybe you name your car then like Helga, so that way everyone knows like it's a thrower, but it's a good thrower.
Gotta be a
like,
German car at
Like
that
she's
point,
probably
doesn't
gonna
it?
win. I guess that's true. Like, do you name your car after the country it was manufactured in?
I mean, if you're gonna go with Helga, yeah, I feel like Germany is a good start.
You get like a Beamer.
You know?
So he was the first one to get it, and then I think it was like 350,000, something like that for
Yeah.
that thing. And then Doncic rolled up to a game last year, and I think it was made by the same company. They said that Whiteside's had 900 horsepower, and Doncic just had like 850. But
I'm surprised you didn't just go with 901.
right, just to have it, but
Uh,
just go full prices right on the horsepower. But like these are some of the
900
things
and
that
a
came out of
half.
that. It had a 6x6 transmission with 40-inch tires and 6 10-ply and 22-inch anthracite rims.
what's the point?
10-ply sounds like a hell of a toilet paper.
Right?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, as a
You're not
non-car
ripping
guy,
through that one.
Like,
as a non-car guy, this means
fingers are
nothing
safe.
to me.
10,
Like, okay.
10-ply tires is like, that's insane. Like
And-
10-ply rubber, like 10
Yeah.
layers of rubber in that.
I was
I mean, that thing
completely
probably-
unaware until now that ply was a tire term.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I really only thought it came with TP.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Um,
I'm learning on a
10,000 watt sound system, which, you know what? I love to hear that. It brings joy to my heart. I don't hear enough trunks rattling anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like when
dude,
s-
go
when
to a
somebody-
high school football practice.
When
You'll
somebody-
hear it.
So it's a thing? It
I
still
live-
happens?
I
Oh
live-
yeah,
I live close
mean,
enough to Westview High School.
There's still. Don't worry, it's not the 1980s Honda Accord anymore. It's the early 2000s Honda Accord.
Okay.
But that thing still has a speaker that costs more than the dang car.
So we're still doing it?
oh, we're
st-
doing it right.
We're still doing
dude.
monster cable with a subwoofer rolling
Yeah.
around in the
Is
back,
it-
not actually screwed down.
Well, and is it still
Oh.
the removable face stereo
no,
deck in the car?
unfortunately.
No, but I'll let you know right now. It shakes so much that you can hear the car from like 3 blocks away.
Do they have the club on the steering wheel still?
The worst part is
It doesn't matter on the Accord.
No
They
one's.
just steal that thing.
I was gonna say no one's rocking with the club, but I'll tell you right now, it's not like back in the day. It was like gangster rap or something. Like it was or heavy metal. Like it was hard.
Yeah.
Now it's just
a lot
like
of mumble rap.
no, it's EDM. So it's like
Yeah.
and it's like this sucks. There's no words.
Oh, back in my day, yeah, it'd be like the Too Short, maybe some 2 Live Crew.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Too Short is hilarious. There's an Eagles fan. Every time the Eagles win, he blares
Yeah.
Blow the Whistle and he
Some
dances in
Ice-T's.
his
Like, that's right when
neighborhood.
he started Body Count,
Hilarious.
too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Cop killer.
Look, all I know is
Now
I'm
he
just-
is a
I'm-
cop.
I'm just glad the kids are doing all right.
The kids are doing just fine.
Look,
man.
it saddened me when I just felt like no one was making the block hot anymore. You know, you just didn't have anybody just rattling the trunk.
I'll
with
know.
just the most obscene amount of bass imaginable, like to the point of like causing actual tinnitus at the age of 18.
I'll know the kids are doing all right when I see them making a turn to Westview High School and I can hear the Alan Parsons Project coming from like 4 blocks away.
I don't know that you'll hear that, but I'll tell you what. You know what is coming back?
Mm.
bleached hair,
Oh,
and the kids
Oh yeah, well Joe Burrow did that already.
they're not super smart about it. It turns into frosted tips.
oh.
I had
thought
about-
you were gonna say
It
turns
does
into
grow
orange.
out. Yeah. I mean,
No, I had 3 or 4 players where I had to show them some old Justin Timberlake in sync photos.
Mm.
Oh, the ramen hair.
That's right. Now
Yeah.
they're not as wavy as he had it because like no one's trying to get a perm anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But-
The broccoli tops are.
The broccoli top is there, but usually if you go broccoli top, you're not going frosted tip. You're going frosted tip because you're bleaching your hair because you're doing some sort of like weird Eminem in sync
Redux
Justin.
thing?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
it's
Back streets back.
an interesting
All
thing.
right.
But then instead of wearing like baggy clothes, or I guess baggy like jeans, you're now wearing like pajama bottoms, which I despise.
Well, or is it like the skinny jeans that are almost like
No,
capris
skinny-
and showing off your ankle socks?
skinny jeans that's my era. Like
Okay.
Yeah, no,
colored
no, no,
skinny
it's
jeans with the
this-
big Osiris's.
Yeah,
That's my time.
This is now like straight leg wide pipe pants, not Jinkos.
Yeah, they're
like, they're
they're much
wide
too
pipe-
big for you.
Yeah, they're too big and they're like higher cut, like above your ankle, so that doesn't even
Yes.
touch your shoe. It's
Mhm.
you see them at Blazers games walking around the children's of the world that are their dads are buying them courtside tickets, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening here?
The
I'm
interesting
old.
thing though is that the shirts are always super tight.
Yeah,
It's the biggest pants, and then
Yeah.
you're like rolling around in a white tank top, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Or the black version.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're doing. The black tank top color.
Look,
The Pat
I know,
McAfee.
I know.
Yes.
I know where we are in the world. Can we just call it what it is?
I'm not gonna
we-
call.
uh-oh,
I'm
where
not
are we
gonna
going
do
here?
it. I'm not gonna do
the wife
it.
beater.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
It got the name because
I get it. I understand.
It came
Yeah,
from a certain connotation. And it's like
that got canceled.
it's like
As
did
an
it- did it
educator,
get
I'm not
canceled?
comfortable.
Did it get canceled, or did we just kind of like, well, we should put?
I
this
think
one
we probably
over there?
decided it was a moniker that maybe just needs to be put in the drawer and put away.
Because look, here's the thing. I was asking my wife the other day.
I mean, it's
but-
not
but-
wrong. As soon as you say it, everyone knows what you're
It, that,
talking
that's
about.
kind of my
Yes.
point. And I was like, as soon as I was like, hey, babe, have you seen my undershirt? And she's like, which one are you looking for? And I was like, my wife beater.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah. You know, because I just done a load, and she's like, I can't remember. She moved something somewhere, and I was like, hey, I did like a whole load of whites. Like, have you seen any of the wife beaters? Because I don't know about you guys, I almost never, which is hilarious considering right now I don't have one on just because I'm entirely lazy and in the most comfortable fashion possible. Don't have an undershirt.
I almost never wear one.
no,
See,
I don't. Yeah.
I'm the other way around. I
Mhm.
always have another undershirt.
I always
on.
run hot. I don't need another layer.
Yeah, I'll do it if I'm wearing like a nicer clothes.
Yeah,
Or like
if I'm,
last
yeah,
night.
wearing like a nice shirt,
Yeah.
suit, whatever. Yes, then I'll put
Last-
on an undershirt.
Last night I had like it was kind of see-through-ish. It's a white shirt, but in the right light you can kind of see through it. I'll throw an undershirt on
Yeah.
under that. I also like
that Hanes
sometimes
3-pack
yeah, well, and sometimes too.
back
I
from
think
the old
it,
Michael Jordan Hitler stash days.
I don't really remember those days. I'll tell you what though, like there is a part of those shirts that I do understand why people wear them. I do think it sucks everything in and it puffs up other stuff. Like I think I might have the biggest chest ever when I wear those. It just like pops them up. It's like a sports bra but for dudes.
I mean, I think they have those too,
No, but I'm not wearing that.
It's a man's
That's
ear.
gross.
right?
We're not going Costanza out here.
The
Not
bro.
wa- Not wearing the man's ear.
Are you aware of the cup sizes?
Yeah,
You got the A.
Yeah.
You got the B.
But I'm somebody who always runs hot.
Stop
yet-
short. That's my move.
like there's something about like when I was in the military, the only time the undershirt I wore was like a compression shirt.
Yeah.
You-
The dry fit.
like dry
kinda deal.
fit, like
Yeah.
that's what you wore on when you were overseas, especially. You got a acceptable color dry fit.
Right.
Now they actually like make them for us. Like
Yeah,
there's
they're
actually-
like all brown now, aren't they?
yeah, they actually
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
direct like military approved colors.
Right,
because
right.
we all just started wearing because it was what sucked was early on we just had to wear the black. Because you can have we wear black or brown underneath, and it was
because
like,
that's like what you were. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
that's
so-
uniform.
yeah,
Okay.
so we just had to wear the black ones because we didn't like brown ones or green ones didn't exist. But like I think I just got used to always wearing some sort of like undershirt or compression shirt. Like it just like became a normal thing. It felt even like right now where I don't have anything on underneath this t-shirt, it feels weird. But
Interesting.
I'm just absolutely wiped, and I went with the comfiest manner. I'm literally head to toe swoosh bag. literally.
Well, I mean, you're from Oregon.
Yeah,
I get it.
I mean,
I
but I
get
mean,
it.
like it's
Nike rocks. Dude.
They are. They do.
Big fan.
But I am like I went croc life today. I am. The amount of F's given are 0. I'm wiped out. It's been a long week.
I matched.
Mm.
I'm head to toe black and white.
There you go.
I can match.
I like it.
There are many times I can
Is that
match.
putting together an outfit or just like stumbling into it?
I thought about it. I was like, I have black and white shoes. I'm gonna wear black pants. I'll wear a white shirt, and then I always wear a hat. So I was like, I might as well wear the black and white hat.
Look at you.
Look
at you.
I am attempting.
Growth.
I cannot dress.
Mm.
I am attempting to try to be able to dress. I'm trying to dress nicer. I'm trying to do nicer things.
I did not today.
I'm trying. Well, you don't have to fight the battles I have to.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm young apparently.
Yeah,
and so
I am happily married, so I can sell out every now and then.
Oh, I do that too, but that's when I'm like staying at the house. But I'm
Yeah.
also not. I'm at work.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I'm trying to like put a better foot forward.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not today.
Look at Ortner. Ortner's growing up.
Look, I'll be 100% honest. I am not putting my best foot forward today. I am fighting it.
It does help that joggers have become like kind of acceptable.
Oh, God, like the whole like athleisure thing being
I love my joggers.
part of life now is a wonderful thing. Because actually, you know what's funny is I started this morning by putting on the Nike athleisure jogger pants, and I had the dry fit.
So
I
nice.
literally fresh out of the dryer, and I went, or the not the dry fit, the God, how do they call it? The fleece.
The Nike. You're not. I'm going to be no help. I know none of the
Yeah, I
names.
got nothing.
I
Good
know.
Lord,
I know Air Force Ones.
Yeah, I'm totally blanking on what the fleece tech is, but anyways, I'm head to toe in it right now. It's so cozy. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I'm not exactly setting any standard in here either. Every day it's just t-shirt and jeans, so I keep it the same.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with running the football, Rust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, run the ball.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Thank
Just
you
run
for
the ball.
text line. Come check out Travis Matthew and be cozy for life. Shout out our guy working at the Travis Matthew store.
Who's Travis Matthew?
It's a great. Oh, you don't have Travis Matthew clothes?
No, dude.
Oh,
No,
buddy.
we're lucky. We're lucky. I got joggers.
Hey, buddy, just
I'm working.
Work your way on down to Washington Square.
I'm growing up. Ooh,
It's nice, golf gear.
I need golf pants.
Oh, dude, I've got a hefty amount of Travis Matthew in the closet.
Where-
Super comfy.
Where are the? Okay, well you do that. I'm
Washington-
gonna
Yeah,
find
go
golf
there.
pants.
There you go. Scroll through that, and when we
Yes.
go into the break, and come up next, we're going to talk about some NFL football. The Commanders and Eagles played a fun little game, and then I should say an ugly little game that broke out into a fun little game down the stretch. Who did that game mean more for, the Commanders or the Eagles? And do we learn anything more about which one of those teams is a little bit more real, a little bit more fake? Danny and Dusty, 10 to the Fan. Starting the season, DOA, after the riveting reporting coming out of Eagles training camp that they all hated each other. A lot of folks wondered if the Eagles were going to be mildly successful this year or if this was the beginning of the end for Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and a Philadelphia team that lost a lot of leadership as Jason Kelce retired and Fletcher Cox moved on. And there is this void. And they've somehow managed to string together wins that, while not impressive, kept them kind of going. And I don't know if they're still there. It almost feels like they're overperforming what they should be based solely on talent, which is a good way to fall back. But last night they beat the Washington Commanders 26-18 behind a 20-point fourth quarter.
Yeah, thanks, because I had the Commies +4.
Look, I did too. Philadelphia, you miss a couple of field goals. They aren't really. They don't have a ton going most of the game. And then hello, Saquon freaking Barkley.
Yeah, well, here's why I don't think it's fraudulent what the Eagles are doing. It's because the offensive line is finally clicking after they lost their heart and soul. Like, they lost Jason Kelce because he retired over the year. It takes a while, especially at that center position. Look at the Oregon Ducks if you're a Duck fan. And if you don't have the right guy or the guy that you have at that center position that's setting the point, setting the blocking schemes, getting everyone together on the same page, it takes time. And it took this Eagles offense time. And now you can get Saquon Barkley going. Because right now, I'm not totally in love with how Jalen Hurts is playing. Like, to talk about him,
I don't think you should be.
He's not playing like last time they went to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts was basically the MVP if he didn't get hurt. Now it's a little bit of a different team because they're winning in the trenches and they're winning with that offensive line. And then Saquon Barkley is back to 2018 Saquon Barkley. But the other thing that you're seeing,
Effing bad this year.
He's so good.
Oh my Lord.
He's so good. He's playing with his hair on fire. But the other thing that's finally clicking is defensively, Vic Fangio's defense. It's back where it needs to be. It took a while. He doesn't run a challenging scheme. It's very similar to Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks. Hey, we do these 5 things and we do them every single play. That's what Vic Fangio does. But it takes a little bit to get everyone in the right position, to get everyone clicking, understanding how, hey, this player is going to see this, so I need to react here. This player is going to do this because of what the offense is doing, so I need to react in this way. It takes a little bit to build that chemistry. And what you're seeing is defensively, they are finally clicking. And the big reason they're doing that is because of Cooper DeJean and Mitchell. Mitchell out on the outside is unbelievable as a corner.
Lined up over
Terry McLaurin,
20
no
times.
catches.
Not even
No
not
catches.
even 0 catches, 0 targets.
I'd have to go back through and see the numbers, but basically he has given up 1 to 3 catches on every number one that he's faced, and he is a rookie, so he's only going to get better.
Yeah.
You're seeing this defense click, and that might be why I'm starting to buy into them more. It's not because of necessarily Jalen Hurts, it's the sum of the parts around Jalen Hurts, and that defense is nasty.
And the white corner.
Do you feel like this Eagles team is for real though? Like, is this a if you saw
Yes.
this team in the NFC Championship game, you'd buy it?
Yes, it would depend on who they're going up against, but right now
No, I'm saying like
they're probably the second best team in the NFC.
Okay.
And there's still a hope that Jalen Hurts can figure it out offensively. Like, there's still room for them to get better. I think
he
that's
might have
what's
got some
scary.
sense knocked into him last night as he left the game for concussion check and make sure he's good to go and goes back out there and still actually, as weird as it sounds, he looked better after getting his bell rung. As awkward as that is to say out loud.
It's a strong O-line, man.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a strong O-line.
I mean, they on those long Saquon runs, both times the center got out and cleared.
Jurgens,
just got out and Jurgens flattened the safety for the I almost said the Commanders.
On the Commanders, he
Yeah,
absolutely
good Lord,
lit that man.
Just threed him the whole length of the field. Like, he got him twice. Like he got him backpedaling like at basically 5 yards downfield, and you could tell he was already tea-kettling, and he was like, "Let me go ahead and help you here, bud." And just smacked him again and just sent him rolling. It was like, come on, man, you didn't have to do that to him. Like, that's rough.
Well, it's beautiful too because he's doing that on a zone play. And as an offensive lineman, if you can get your center to that backside linebacker and cut him off, like not even
It's gonna
pancake
go.
him, it sets everything up for the cutback.
Yeah.
And what Saquon is doing right now is he's delivering his offensive linemen to the linebackers so that he can hit those big cutbacks.
Take it out wide, cut it back in.
And Cam Jurgens getting up to that second level. It's why Jason Kelce was so light when he played. Like, Jason Kelce was under 300 pounds for the majority of his time.
It was in the
It was like 290.
Chip Kelly
Oh,
era.
yeah, he was
270.
270.
He's like, yeah, we got a little light in the back end, and it was like,
Right.
every now and then when you get into the ugly games, you get pushed around.
That's where you get into trouble. But the whole reason that they do that at that center spot is so you can get
So
up
you can
to that
reach.
linebacker. And the zone game is set up for the bang of the football. You can bounce it, bang it, or bend it, the 3 Bs. And if you bang it or bend it back, that's where you see your big plays hit.
Yeah.
And that's all Saquon's doing right now. And he's running with his hair on fire. His O-line
He
is
looks
setting
so
him up.
fast. He looks so fast right now.
His O-line is setting him up so that he only has to beat one man, and
Yeah.
he's actually beating those guys. And when the O-line does miss, he makes them right. So as long as Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, this O-line keeps, getting better each and every week, and that defense keeps getting better each and every week. Why couldn't they win it? Now, if you're saying in a one-game shot, them or Detroit, I'm probably taking Detroit. I need to see a little bit more of the 49ers now that CMC is back. But right now, I think I'd take the Eagles over the 49ers.
I would too.
Now.
The 49ers haven't looked right at all. From the Commanders side of things, I think there was a couple of interesting developments last night. You've now seen Jaden Daniels face back-to-back teams in the Steelers and Eagles who have had long running success, and yet Jaden Daniels is still found a way to be successful. But I think you started to see where some of the shortcomings are in this Commanders team. We'll take a look at that and where they could possibly be coming up here next on Danny and Dusty. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Zone Update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Stanford's. This classic American steakhouse has exactly what you've been craving. Visit them in Clackamas, Tanasbourne, or online at stanfords.com. First on the Fan, the #1 Oregon Ducks. They can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game with a win tomorrow at Camp Randall against Wisconsin. 4:30 kick on NBC. Coverage here on the Fan starts with the Sinner and the Saint Tailgate show at 9 a.m. We got Ducks Game Day with Dirt Dusty, Anthony Newman. That's at noon. Stick around after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon State looking to end their 4-game losing streak tomorrow in Colorado Springs against the Air Force. 12:30 kick on the CBS Sports Network. The Beavs are 3-point favorites. Tonight, UCLA in Seattle facing Washington. That's a 6 o'clock kick on Fox. The Huskies are 3.5-point favorites. Over in the NFL, the Bills will be without tight end Dalton Kincaid Sunday at the Chiefs due to a left knee injury suffered in last week's win over the Colts. Buffalo already without wide receiver Keon Coleman. And in the association, Blazers off until Sunday when they wrap up the homestand against the Hawks. 3 o'clock matinee on K2 Channel 2.2 over the air, Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers then hit the road for a 5-game trip. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Shop Dell Technologies Black Friday event for their lowest prices of the year. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. Black Friday is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
It's Isaac and Suk with our friends Ken and Donnie from The Advocates, and you will not see them on a billboard.
There's a reason we don't do billboards, and it's because we're not the ones that matter. The ones that matter, they're our team, our legal assistants, our paralegals, our attorneys that are talking and working directly for the client and our clients. They're the ones that matter.
But maybe we could get you like a cowboy hat, and then like you could have your fist out on the billboard and be like, "We fight for you."
Yeah, we're not the Hammer.
Although you could borrow my cowboy boots, Ken.
You need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. AdvocatesLaw.com.
In the dynamic world of programmatic ad buying, Viant is your ultimate CTV partner. Target with precision. Buy with confidence. Viant empowers you with AI-driven technology that reaches your audience where they engage most, ensuring your message hits home. And the campaign results? Transparent, thanks to Viant's advanced measurement suite. For media buyers who demand the best, Viant delivers. Viant. Elevate your CTV campaign performance.
Headed out on the town or maybe just running some errands, but worried you haven't charged enough to make it everywhere? Don't stress. Shell has a growing network of reliable EV charging sites at popular retail locations and Shell gas stations. So you can pull up, plug in, and venture out. Now that's convenient. Shell Recharge. Download the Shell app today to find the nearest Shell Recharge location. For more information on locations and how Shell measures reliability, visit shell.us/Shell Recharge.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff, Russ, and I both picked up L's on our Commanders pick last night, +4.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders, and look,
all it took was a 20-point fourth quarter.
yeah, look, the Commanders looked like they had things under control. They
Felt like the witching hour.
Look, I mean, they're up 7-3 going into the half. It was a low scoring, ugly, grinded out, punch you in the face. Look, the Eagles missed a couple of field goals, and it looked like the Commanders at multiple times were going to put a drive together. Jaden Daniels threw a pick, which has not been a thing that has happened. He only had 2 interceptions coming into the game this season, or coming into the game tonight or last night. What the Commanders couldn't do was run the ball, which is what the Eagles could do. You take a look at where the Commanders had that kind of that wart. Will, when you were in earlier this week, we were talking about this Commanders team and how they struggled defensively against the run. That was like the one weakness. They were giving up $142 a game. Weirdly enough, Saquon Barkley, $146. It's funny how that works out when that magic number seems to kind of pop up and crop up for you. And this Commanders team, they're not out of it by any means. They're 7-4. They're very, very, very much still in this.
They're a playoff team, I think. At 79% chance, I believe.
I mean, and their schedule remaining is not the most grueling thing on the face of the planet. Cowboys, Titans, Saints are their next 3.
Yeah, you should be okay. You should be okay. But I do want to point something out that Jaden Daniels is still hurt. When you break a rib or you have a core injury or something like that, that doesn't go away with anything other than rest, right? Mm-hmm. So he's just going to keep getting beat up. And I wonder if, because he had some throws where dudes were open in this game and he left it short. It looked like he couldn't step into a lot of his throws.
There was the one that hit the wide receiver in the foot on the deep dig. And
yes.
It was like, because if he hits him on that, he's
wide open.
He's going.
Like if he doesn't score, it's a big gain. Yeah. It looked like he wasn't trying to fit the ball into certain tight windows, and that's probably because he couldn't. Like he might normally be able to,
and he was playing the check down game with Ertz, and Ertz had a nice little game.
Right. Well,
you remembered. Oh yeah, Zach Ertz exists.
Ertz and Eckler, huge games from them. Yeah. The problem with that is if everything is a check down in the NFL, then you're never pushing the ball downfield. Well, then teams are going to start closing in, and then you can't. And it didn't look like he was super comfortable running. I chalk that all up to coming back from the rib injury. And when you have to have such a short week like he's going through, maybe his rib isn't 100%. It's one of those things where if he gets his 6 days off or his 6 days where they can go through their traditional game plan of getting him ready for a game, he feels better going into that game. And now he's a little more amped to run. He's a little he feels better in the core so he can throw it deeper. When it's a short rest and you got to go and then you're getting hit a bunch of times or you're worried about getting hit by this Eagles defense that I said is getting better and better, and that pass rush is getting better and better each week. Like, you're not 100% healthy. You're not ready to go. You aren't going to be able to do the things you normally do.
Does anything from last night make you not believe in the Commanders as not even just a playoff team, but a frisky play? Like, if I told you that the Commanders have a matchup with not the Lions or not the Eagles in the first round, are you comfortable saying that from what you've seen from this team that they could win a playoff game?
Yeah, I think so, at least for right now. But I also think that, the Cliff Kingsbury effect has to be a little bit, you have to keep an eye on that, because this tweet came out, and this is an older graphic, but it's been out before. When he was the head coach in Arizona, his games 1 through 7, he basically had a winning record every single year, or he was about 500. Then you look at it after game 7, he has a losing record. It's almost like he comes into the season with a certain game plan for his tendency breakers, and he has, the time of the offseason to create the offense, to look a certain way, to have different motions that trick teams and put his guys in the right positions. And then teams figure out how to stop that and figure out his tendencies. So then they start, hey, we've got to look where they're in shotgun, and because the running back's on the left, now we can blitz the right side because we know they like to run power to the right. He doesn't make the adjustments after the fact. So if I'm a Washington Commanders fan, or as I watch this team more throughout the year, that's something that I'm going to pay attention to. How does this offense look? Because it doesn't look nearly as dynamic as it did all the way back week 2, week 3, week 4, And yes, 100%. Some of that is because of the injury to your quarterback. And remember, he's still a rookie quarterback. As good as he's looked this year, there are going to be times where he looks like a legitimate rookie quarterback and he struggles. But I think that is something important to keep an eye on, of when you start playing better teams or teams with better defenses, does this offense continue to take steps back, or at least stay at the same level that they were at? Because if that continues, which Kingsbury has shown that he will do when he was in college and when he was in the pros, I would be worried going into a postseason game where you need to be taking steps forward. You need to feel like the Eagles, where it feels like you're getting better each week
as the season progresses.
Where the Commanders kind of feel like, at best right now, they're stagnant.
That's an interesting thought, and I think it's one of those things where it's a kind of a cross sports axiom, as it will, of like hitting the rookie wall.
Yep.
Where, at this point in time, your college football season is wrapping up.
You got 2 games left.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like this, like
2 regular season games.
But I mean,
sorry,
this is kind of where like all the hits and all the stuff, and you're starting to wear it. And in the NFL, there are times where, in college football, the game's salted away, the kids come in, right? The backups come in, and you just kind of keep this thing moving on to the next week. That doesn't happen in the NFL.
Nope.
And so you're taking all those hits, you're taking all those extra plays, and you wonder if Jaden Daniels, with that rib or ribs, the cartilage, I think is what it was.
Right.
It's one of those things that just the degradation of it's going to start to wear on him, and how that not only they can manage that from the physical side of things, but the mental side of things, the developmental side of things, the hey, we need to get you from doing X to doing X and Y. Because if you're going, as the season progresses, as the tape comes out, we talked about this with C.J. Stroud last year, as that maturation process keeps coming, can you kind of figure that out? So it's going to be an interesting thing to kind of watch with this Commanders team, because I picked them as the dark horse team to win this division, and I think that might be over with kind of where they're at.
You get the Eagles again, but as you look down their losses are to the Eagles, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Bucks.
Yeah.
So
the better teams.
You've lost to, at minimum, 3 playoff teams, maybe a 4th with the Buccaneers. Yeah. It might be one of those teams where you beat who you're supposed to beat and you lose to who you're supposed to. The other thing that I found interesting, because you were just talking about the rookie wall that everyone hits, and I didn't really think about it in this way until I heard Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of talk about why he handled his combine and his pre-draft stuff the way he did, is he treated it like it's a normal season. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to take my off time when I have my off time. I'm going to ramp up into my build. I'm going to get ready to go by the time the season starts.
And as opposed to not doing it for the combine.
What a lot of those rookies do is they have to prepare for the combine. So you go from playing a full college football season where it is grinded out and you
don't
get
a ton of
after
rest.
And it is no rest, and you are now asked to perform at the peak of your abilities. It's your peak strength, your peak speed, your peak athleticism.
So you're optimizing everything for that particular moment. Like you're getting your body fat down. You're making sure your diet's flawless. You're doing all your mobility stuff.
There's no unnecessary like
it's like if you're a bodybuilder, like and you're trying to lean out for an event, and like you have to line everything up for that day or that couple of days. It's the same kind of process. Perfect example is former Oregon Duck wide receiver Troy Franklin, who for the combine weighed like $170.
Yep, but because so he could be the fastest.
Be the fastest he possibly could. Like he's still not going to put on like
your diet changes.
Yeah, like everything about it was like, hey, what can I do to min max whatever it is? Like if you're a guy who's trying to, if the question is he strong enough? Well, it's like, okay, let me put on as much mass as I can to show that I actually am strong enough. But, at the cost of, hey, maybe I don't look quite as fast. Like, there's just so many different things that you start kind of like prioritizing, as opposed to what can I do to be the best player?
And then immediately you jump into OTAs and rookie mini camp. And you jump because you have to so that you can be ready for the season. So the type of grind that you go through your rookie year, there's a reason why they hit the wall because you basically go for a whole year where
almost like 2 years. Like you come out of college football and right into the NFL, and there's just no break.
There's no break. You 18 months.
Yeah,
it's 18 months of I have to be the best I can possibly be every single day, and that has to wear on your body. That has to wear on your mentals. Like it has to wear on everything. So when I look at this Commanders team, I think they're still a playoff team. Yeah. Would it shock me if they got into the playoffs and they beat like an Atlanta?
No,
or a Tampa Bay, or if depending on
any non-top seeded team in the NFC,
basically anyone besides
the
Lions and Eagles, and then jury's still out in my eyes on San Fran because San Fran can still win that division, and you get your best player back, the guy who makes everything go. Like here's the crazy part: you had your backup running back in San Francisco, and he was still one of the top 5 rushers in the NFL. Now you get the best running back in the NFL back, at least like with what he's done. Maybe maybe not the best, maybe the most important with what he does for your offense in the run game and in the pass game. You get him back.
Yeah.
What does that do for a team that is basically right on the outskirts of being a playoff team, and they're just out of, being that division leader?
Yeah.
What does he add to that team? So I got 2 teams that I feel real confident in Detroit and in Philadelphia. And then I am flirting with the 49ers. We're in the talking stage right now. We're DMing.
Yeah.
We haven't gone on a date.
You've exchanged Snapchats?
Yeah. I think we've got, I probably slid in an Instagram.
Okay.
But now I don't know that we're quite to the phone number phase yet. But we're probably snapping a little bit.
That's just so weird to me.
What?
It's like the whole like not exchanging phone numbers thing. Like that's...
No, most of the time it's Instagram.
I know. It's
not Snapchat anymore. I'm older than that. That's a high school
so
thing.
Weird.
Are we sliding into DMs?
Oh yeah, I'm sliding into the 49ers DM. Or you know what we're doing? We're liking stories. We're late night liking stories. Giving it the heart.
God. That's so weird. All right. Keep coming up next.
So those reaction ones, is there an eggplant emoji yet for the reactions?
Yeah. No, but there's like the smiley face with the big eyes. It's like, oh, you're so sweet. The blushing emoji.
Good Lord. Coming up next year on this Football Friday, there's a couple snakes in them there boots. There's some trap games around all of college football. We'll talk about the Ducks and the Badgers here in a little bit, as well as the big game between Georgia and Tennessee and what that can mean for the SEC Eliminator. But there's some snakes in the grass that could cause some upsets across college football, which would cause a massive scramble in the college football playoff. We'll get to those coming up here next year on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Football Friday here on Danny and Dusty. Got last night's NFL game filed away between the Eagles and Commanders. Let's pivot to some college football. We'll get to the Ducks and the Badgers here at the top of hour number 2. But there's a couple potential landmines on the college football landscape.
There are some fun chaos that could happen in college football.
There's one to me, and it's the spread right now is 12.5 between Texas and Arkansas.
It's weird.
Look, there's the Arkansas is just kind of lurking here. They're a 5-4 team. They're not great. They're fun. Taylon Green is a really fun, just like hellscape of a quarterback to deal with because
he's the ultimate college quarterback.
He's so big and so fast, but so reckless.
Right. He can make every throw. And when they played and beat Tennessee, he made every throw. When they got absolutely they got housed by somebody.
Ole Miss absolutely hung everything up on them.
When they got housed by Ole Miss, he made the worst decisions with the football.
Yeah, this is a guy in Taylon Green who's thrown for 2,200 yards, run for 400. He's got, someone would say 18, 19 total touchdowns. He's not an incredibly accurate quarterback. He's the Boise State transfer.
He's an athlete. He's a very good athlete.
And when you see him in the open field, he's 6'6", 230.
And he's fast.
And he
can move.
He's gifted as an athlete. You see him get loose, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's a big dude moving. And he has an absolute cannon attached to his arm. But it's about where it ends up. And it's like, I fully expect Texas to win that game. I fully expect Texas to win that game and handle business. But Arkansas as a team has the potential to be a disruptor because if they knock off Texas and they throw Texas in that 2-loss pool,
it gets so fun.
Good Lord.
So fun. Well, I think we're going to figure out, this is so stupid because it's Texas, but is Texas back? And what I mean by are they back, are they back to the pre-Georgia team?
Yeah.
Or are they back to the team that played Georgia? Because
and even then, I think there's two different teams in that game. You have first half Texas, where they came out flat-footed, limp and scared.
The O-line just got destroyed.
And then the second half, they decided we're not going to get. Both those games, that game and USC Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the better team played like crap in the first half and got manhandled in the first half, and in the second half, they looked like the team they were supposed to be coming in. It was like, oh yeah, there you go, because Texas looks scared.
Well, Quinn Ewers looked bad.
Yeah, I mean, he looked terrible.
And we just talked about this with Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. He had an oblique injury. If you don't know where your oblique is, you can Google it. It's on your core. Trust me.
Sucks.
Dr. Will's here. It's not a fun injury, and it really affects you in your rotation. Guess what quarterbacks do all the time? They're rotating to pass the football from
you're getting hit.
Core spot. Exactly. And that's where you get hit. You get hit in the obliques. It's not a fun injury to have. And before Quinn Ewers hurts his oblique, he looked awesome. He made all the throws he needed to. He's not the most mobile guy, but he can move around in the pocket to buy himself an extra second to find his wide receivers, because right now they're 5 deep at that wide receiver position. And then he's got arguably the best offensive line in the country. They go up against a Georgia team that was at 100% health, and they came up with some great fire zones, which are just different blitzes out of a zone scheme that completely confuse that offensive line. Kirby Smart did a great job of basically putting 6 guys right on the line of scrimmage and then just bringing a bunch of different variations to each blitz. Sometimes the Mike would go A, the defensive end would stay in the C, and then the D tackle would move out to the B. Sometimes now it's the Mike going to the B, and they just crisscross and stunted
that
and
pressure
twisted.
up the middle was there relentlessly.
And as an offensive line, you have to pick up a lot of that without being able to talk to each other. And so there were multiple times where Georgia players were getting home, and Quinn Ewers wasn't able to get the ball out fast enough, and then he's taking shot after shot after shot into that oblique. And so he looked different. Now, they play Vanderbilt. He still looks scared. Every single throw that he's making, it's check down. There's nothing going long. Then he gets a bye week. It almost feels like he's getting a little bit healthier. You watch Quinn Ewers against Florida, he's trying everything. He's throwing deep because he trusts that his O-line is taking care of him. So he looks back to what Quinn Ewers looked like against Michigan. Now, the question is, you're going to go up against an Arkansas team that has a fairly decent defensive line. They got 2 defensive ends that can get after the passer. This is a competent football team. Their record, it's worse than what it really should be. They've played a lot of close games. Aside from the Ole Miss game, they haven't been blown out by anybody. If they can get pressure on Quinn Ewers, what does Ewers look like? Does he go back to being a pumpkin? Or does he say, I don't care, I'm going to get hit, I'm going to be okay, and I'm going to deliver strikes to my wide receivers? And if he does that, then this Texas team, it's, hey, you're back. You are a legitimate top 3 team in the country. I think you can win a title. If he doesn't do that, you're going to be a 2-loss team. And then all of a sudden, who's the best in the SEC?
And that's the thing. The Vancouver Vortex line, does a 2-loss Texas team deserve to get into the playoffs with no ranked wins? And it's like,
they'd have a ranked win.
Well, I mean,
they would beat A&M.
Yeah, I mean, but you find, well, if all of a sudden
if
A&M picks up that loss here at the end,
true.
That's what I'm saying. That this is where the disruptor part of this gets really, really nasty. We have the primetime bowl, Kansas BYU. Kansas 3-6, but they're a little friskier. I think
the Isaac and Suk Bowl.
Yes, that's the primetime bowl.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But BYU has played with fire for seemingly weeks now.
Yes, they are.
That's one Big 12 matchup. The
Kansas
other
looks good.
There's another Big 12 matchup. Arizona State, unranked, 7-2, 4-2 in the Big 12, taking on Kansas State, 16th, 7-2, 4-2 in the Big 12. For a chance to be the team that can kind of take over the role of Big 12 disruptor if BYU gets knocked off. By the way, who does BYU play next week?
Kansas State?
Arizona State.
Oh.
The Fighting Dillingham.
I was going to say, I think they have do they not have Kansas State?
I think they have them on their schedule still.
I think they have them at the end too. Like their end of the year schedule isn't easy. Oh no, it's Houston.
Oh, that's what it is.
Who is also Kansas and Houston.
No,
at the beginning of the year were the most disappointing Big 12 teams, and
but
now they're
right.
right.
They're friskier.
They're figuring it out. Well, that Kansas team, they couldn't run the football. They were relying too much on that quarterback, and he was having a lot of turnovers. Now they're starting to run the football, and they look halfway decent. Here's the thing. That Arizona State team, when Levitt is playing to his peak, they can beat anybody in the country. That quarterback, Wes Lynn product, by the way, shout out. He can deliver any ball that they need, and him and Scadaboo, is that what his name is? Scadabo, the running back out of Sac State.
He's
two.
What's his name? That Oregon State had the jackhammer.
He's
very, very
the quarterback.
Sam Levitt.
Jack Coletto.
No,
he's
Coletto.
talking about Coletto, the jackhammer.
Just
Camus
kind of like,
grad, shout out.
Yeah, Scadabo's got a lot of that in him. The Tebow / Taysom Hill.
He runs through people, man. His balance is incredible. He's got great vision. But if those two are playing at their peak, they can beat this Kansas team because their quarterback over at Kansas State, Avery Johnson, he's shown an ability. It's why they lost to BYU, to turn the football over. He's not always, the smartest player with the football. There's a reason why they moved on from Will Howard to Avery Johnson, because Avery Johnson's ceiling,
it's talent.
It's much higher. But right now, there's still times where he shows that he's a young quarterback. And what Dillingham has this Sun Devil team playing like, they can beat anybody. Now, do I think that they eventually get to the Big 12 title game? No. And would it shock me if Kansas State beats them by 14? No, it wouldn't shock me either. But if there is a team that could knock off this K-State team right now, I would put a lot of money on Arizona State. I'm not going to in this game, but it's a team that I would look at. It's the same thing with Kansas, excuse me. Kansas is running the football well right now. If they can keep this game close and they don't turn the ball over, because that's what BYU's defense has largely found their success on. It's been turning opposing teams over and then taking advantage of the short field and getting into the end zone. If Kansas doesn't turn the ball over and they run the football well and they ask their quarterback to just make the smart play, all of a sudden you're going to look at 2 one-score games in the fourth quarter. And at this point with the Big 12, it feels like you're not going to have a undefeated champion.
No, and that's another part of this is Utah, who has struggled this year because of injuries. They can play spoiler for Colorado this weekend. If you don't think that Kyle Whittingham would love to do that, you're out of your bleeping mind. Now, do they have the path to do that? They're so banged up, and their offense is so inept right now.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be.
You just lost a really brutal rivalry game too. In a controversial, I worry that the Holy War beat them twice.
Yeah, no, it probably did.
I think it's going to be.
It's probably going to. And then one of the bigger spread games for the ranked teams this weekend, Boise State number 13 taking on San Jose State, who's 6-3. It's a 14-point spread. Total in this one is 62.5, which that's a lot of points. That's basically saying Boise State's going to put up 40 plus points on San Jose State.
Yeah.
And keep San Jose State under wraps. Do we remember what San Jose State did up in Washington State?
I mean, they should have won that game. They beat Oregon State.
Again, do you remember this?
They're a well coached football team.
Not only that, they're a good team. Like they're a good little when I say good, I'm not saying that they're one a top 25 team in the country, but like, can they sneak up behind somebody and nip them on the heels if you don't pay attention? That happens in college football, guys. It happens every single week. This is why when we looked at, last week on the Friday show, Dusty and I, were looking at the college football slate coming in the morning, and I looked at him. I go, "This is going to sound so stupid," and he's like, "What?" I go, "Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's going to be the one that gets Miami." And he's like, "I could see it." He goes, "King could be back." I was like, and that's the thing. Is Georgia Tech a good team? No. But
they're okay.
Again, they're just. But that's my point.
They're competent.
Anybody can get anybody in college football because you just don't. If you don't come correct,
you're right.
It's what happens. It's not the talent disparity. It's not the NFL where like every single dude is an absolute dude. And if you have somebody on your team who is somebody you're counting on who doesn't deliver, meanwhile on the other side of the ball somebody else does, the tides of a game can shift like that. And I think you just kind of look at this weekend. You've got Clemson Pitt, like for an ACC.
I like Clemson to smack Pitt.
Again, I think so. But if I told you that Pitt came out and won that game, would you be surprised?
No, but I also, and this is because it's one of my best bets. I put it in the article. Feel free to go read that.
There you go.
You can head over to my Twitter at Will Ortner. Shameless plug. But my thing about Clemson with Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh has a lot of wins this year by one score, where they were down by 14
and they come back and
came back and closed it in the fourth quarter. When you've seen them play real teams, they've lost, right? They have two losses, and it's back-to-back weeks where SMU just housed them.
Yeah.
And the other thing for Clemson is they know that if they're going to get into the playoff, they have to win the ACC title. They're not completely dead when it comes to the ACC because they do have only one conference loss.
But if this adds a second conference loss, you're going to start seeing in the ACC exactly what we've seen in the SEC, and you're going, okay, yeah, you've got Miami, who only has the one, but everything else,
and they haven't played anybody.
No, and you've got SMU sitting there, you've got Pitt sitting there, you've got Clemson sitting there. It's like you're going to have to end up going through tiebreakers or something very, very stupid. And look, we all know the ACC is only getting one. They have to have it,
and that's why Clemson has to blow out Pitt because now you have a common opponent with SMU.
Yep,
and you got to win by more than they did.
All right, coming up next, the undefeated and number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks are on their way to Madison, Wisconsin to take on the Wisconsin Badgers. We'll dive into that and more here coming up on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Great expectations.
The Fan.
Number 2 here on Danny and Dusty on a Football Friday. Will Ortner in for Dusty Era. Dusty on his way, or probably there already now, to Madison, Wisconsin, where the Oregon Ducks are traveling into the loony bin up in Wisconsin, where
Jump around.
They'll jump around. Jump around.
Jump around.
Jump around. They're taking on the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin. I guess I was joking. If you think I was joking when I asked Dusty to get me a Wisconsin T-shirt, you're wrong. I want a T-Pain Wisconsin out from my mansion.
I would love to have a T-shirt that just says "Ope."
There you go. Whoop. Excuse me.
Ope.
Pardon me.
OPE. Oh,
yeah.
Hot soup.
Just gonna squeeze right past you here.
Is people would see the OPE on you and be like, "Opa."
Yeah.
That's
yeah. I'm not
yeah.
Greek.
Yeah, I know.
Well, just make sure it's not in like a blue T-shirt with white font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hot soup coming through.
Yeah. Current line 13.5. I've heard a few prognosticators.
Feels low.
I was just gonna say a few prognosticators around the country. I think it was the Bussin' with the Boys guys, them or Big Cat. One of them was like, "Yeah, I could see Oregon coming out here and like winning by 40," and I was like, "Whoa!" Look, they might be that much better than them, but Oregon hasn't done that to anyone this year.
No, they're very well aware that they don't really need the style points.
Yeah.
They get up big in the first half, and then they take their foot off the gas, and then if they need to score a touchdown or get some points in the fourth quarter, they do. Or look, a lot of people
the
are
lowest scoring point total for Oregon this year is opening week against Idaho when they looked awful. They struggled 24-14.
Yep.
Other than that, their lowest scoring game is 31 against Michigan State.
But they also don't really get into the 40s. Like aside from the Oregon State game,
49-14. That's
because what they do is we don't
they
need
get
the
up
style
and they salt
points.
it away.
We kick your butt, and then we get out of here. That's what Oregon does. And when I say we, I'm talking about them, not me. I'm not a part of the team, right? So
just you and the mouse in your pocket.
Yeah, no, definitely not on the Oregon payroll. So I think early on in the year, because I know Anthony Newman talked about this a lot, there was a fear of going to Wisconsin in November. It's the dairy raid. If it gets snowy, you have to deal with weather. Funky things happen. You look at the weather report, it's going to be 52. So like guys are probably going to be playing shirtless. Like they might not even wear their jerseys. It's going to be so warm and sunny and no one's going to have an issue with that.
God, you're really just trying to make this as cold as possible, Dusty. I respect it. I respect it.
This Wisconsin team, when they have played inferior opponents, Luke Fickell has them marching and they win big. When they have had to play better teams, save for Penn State, they've gotten housed. Like if you take out the first half against Penn State and you take out the first half against USC, this Wisconsin team has not looked very good, when they play the better teams. I think what Oregon does, because they're about to go into a bye week, they get up early. They run the football with Jordan James. They get the ball out of Dylan Gabriel's hands. They get it into guys' hands like Trayshawn Holden and Justice Lowe, guys who are filling in right now for Tez Johnson. Get them comfortable. It's almost like in basketball where you just make sure, hey, we got to get this guy touches early so he can get shots up so he gets in a rhythm. Get the younger guys catches early so they can get into a rhythm. They're in the football game. Get up by 2-3 scores, be up, by 21 points going into the half, and then start getting guys like Jordan Birch and Jordan James some rest because you're going to need that for the final push. And you can use this game as like an extra jumping off point of we're going to get guys more rest in the second half going into a bye week where they'll get even more to rest and recover because we know you're going to need all of your dudes if you want to win not just a Big Ten championship, but a national title. And to do that, you have to be at 100% health. Because when you're at 100% health, there aren't many teams that can play with you, let alone beat you. You just have too much talent. So I would not be surprised if you saw a very fired up, a very angry Oregon Ducks football team that took chances early in this football game.
And that's the thing. You take a look at what they've done stylistically. There's no doubt of what Oregon wants to do. Now, Dan Lanning may have wanted to add another oomph little emphasis, some emphasis, as you will, against Michigan. Push the fans out the door. But I don't think that was, it was more about salting away the drive, so to speak. But I think that was a tone setter to the rest of the Big Ten of, hey, we're not
afraid to go into any stadium.
Mm-mm.
We're ready to go.
And I think that's kind of what you're hoping for if you're a Duck fan. And it's always interesting from the outside watching Duck fan because they got, especially the modern Duck fan, like the old-timey Duck fans that have been there and rocked with them for years. I definitely don't actually have any beef with you. It's all of you new money Duck fans that drive me crazy. The idea of like the blur offense with Chip Kelly and winning by 60, like that's the norm, that's the standards. Like,
that's my generation.
Yeah, no, your generation
That's
drives
me.
absolutely insane.
You're talking about me.
This is how you win. Like if you go back and you look at those Texas teams, those USC teams, like the Ohio State teams that did win.
Right.
This is how they did it. They got up on you, then they pulled everybody and they ran the ball and said, "See you later, bye."
Right. Well, I think it's also the difference in how this team is stylistically.
Mm-hmm.
You're an SEC team.
Yeah, no, they're reminiscent of those title teams. Those again, that USC team, that Texas team.
I think it's Bama. Bama, Georgia.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the recent ones. It's the early aughts, early teens. The BCS title teams. Those are the ones that I think this is more reminiscent of. And I think college football is coming back around to that, where for the last 7, 8, 9 years, it's been so often. And again, offense still wildly important.
Right.
But the trench play and the physicality has come back around to being the quarterback's always it's not the most important thing in college football.
You don't need
It can be.
You don't need the style points anymore.
No.
I think that's the big key is back in the day, because of the BCS, you had to have style points. You had to blow teams out.
Beyond that, though,
you don't anymore.
You can not have the most prolific offense in the country. You have to have a good offense. Don't get me wrong. You have to have a very good offense to be one of those teams. But who was the national title winner last year?
Last year, that would have been Michigan.
Did they have a prolific offense?
They did in their own way.
But again,
it's different.
Look, J.J. McCarthy's an entirely fine quarterback, and we haven't seen him get to play in the NFL yet because of the knee surgery.
It was punchy. It was punchy in the mouth. It was. They were built from the trenches out. What Harbaugh did is he went in and he got the best O lineman and the best D lineman, and that's how they won that football game.
And they didn't have to have the number one draft pick quarterback type in that. Look, McCarthy ended up going 10th?
He was top 12 at least.
But you didn't have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of reminiscent of where they are. Like Oregon, and this is why I've given them their credit this year, because they have the markers of that team. It's not a question of can they hold up in the trenches. Yeah, they can.
You have the dude.
Not even hold up. They can dictate
100%.
And that's the thing where I'm like, when I watch them now, I go, that is what makes them real now. And it's not that they've got a bunch of skill guys on the edge that they're going to kill you. Yeah, yes, Evan Stewart's a stud, and Tez Johnson,
they have him.
Jordan James, but it's not. We're not going to get on the edge and beat you every single time. We're going to win it between the tackles. And I think that's the thing that when you go in, you dictate to Michigan, you can go in and do that and dictate against Wisconsin. You get out with a win, you get out healthy, and you see them go about their business in that manner. Those are all the markers of a title contending team.
I think the big thing too, as you talk about the markers of a title contending team, is the standard is the standard. Yeah. And it's nitpicky, I guess, but aside from a couple bad turnovers early from Gabriel, which you haven't seen him do since the Michigan State game.
No, Dusty and I have talked about this in the sense of his turnovers, they haven't been in the games that matter.
And they haven't really been there anymore.
Well, no,
they're not there.
When he's had them, it's an F around and find out moment. Can I do this? And I want to give him the benefit of doubt of hey, I am actually going to try a little something here because we're up and we're in control and it's not a big deal. And it's let me see if I can fit this in there.
Right. And I don't hate that. I like a quarterback that takes chances, but if you take out his turnover issues he had early on in the year, which he hasn't shown to do since really the Ohio State game, and you take out the O-line issues, because once you made your move at center and you went with the guy that you've had over there now and more of this offensive line that you've had basically the rest of the year, you're a Joe Moore Award semifinalist. For those of you who don't know that, that's the best offensive line in the country. For all the talk early on in the year about what this Oregon offensive line was, they're back to what their standard is, which is being a top 10 offensive line in the entire country. And they're getting recognized by that again. And this isn't an award where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of different AP voters who don't even watch half the games. This is voted on by offensive linemen. So when other offensive linemen look at your O-line and they say, yep, these guys can do it, and they do it at an elite level, that tells you something special about this team. Because when you were in national championship games before, you had a special quarterback or you had a special team around that quarterback that ran an offense that nobody else had seen before. You were innovating. You're now playing normal, traditional football, but you have the recruits and the coaching staff that can go out and coach those guys up, and they play at an elite level. The other thing they don't do is, for the most part, they don't really play down to their opponent.
No. And
you made that change at center, and you haven't played down to your opponent ever since.
And another interesting thing, and we haven't talked about a ton, but Vancouver Ford text line, the talking point all summer about the horrible Big Ten country weather and the West Coast teams. I believe it's been better weather at every away game for Oregon. It looks to be that way as Wisconsin, too. Yes, it has. Dusty and Jerry and Georgiev have not had to weather the storm, as it will, on the call at all. We've joked about jinxing Dusty here with the weather. It actually looks like it's going to be pretty mild in Wisconsin, which is unfortunate because I wanted to point and laugh at him a little bit being all rolled up in a parka on the sideline, because next week in Wisconsin right now at Camp Randall, it is expected to be 28 degrees and snowing.
Well, I think last week it was 28 degrees.
And I'm
too.
like come on, man.
It was freezing. Hey.
I want a Dusty icicle out there.
It's better to be lucky than good. How great would it be if,
watch him get that
hanging from his
little mustache,
facial hair. He had like a little icicle hanging.
Oh, it'd be great. Also, Vancouver Ford text line, Gabriel can make more plays than McCarthy. No, yes. I wasn't insinuating that Gabriel's McCarthy. I was just saying in general, you don't have to have the best quarterback in the country to win a title anymore. Like you have to have a good quarterback, but you don't have to have the best quarterback in the country. You don't have to have that guy.
Football has always been won in the trenches, unless you have a completely different game changer.
A world class, holy.
If you have Cam Newton at that position, and guess what? Even when you had Cam Newton, you had Nick Fairley, who was one of the nastier nose guards in college football in a long time. So, as long as you got the trenches. And Dan Lanning can recruit the trenches, and he does it well because he took what Mario Cristobal did. And I know Duck fans hate to hear that, but Cristobal could recruit the trenches. He learned from Mario, and he recruits those trenches well. That's why you are what you are right now.
Coming up next is the holiday season is rapidly approaching on us, which means empty calories for all, the worst food imaginable. Well, we've got that in TV form coming up here next on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. This is the absolute biggest, nastiest, ugliest, empty calorie TV watch of the year.
And I can't wait.
They're bringing Grey's Anatomy back?
Netflix is bringing Jake Paul and Mike Tyson to your homes tonight. And it's the dumbest, most amazing thing possible because a man who has multiple criminal convictions on his record, bit the ear out of somebody, tattooed his face, and is one of the most violent people in the history of modern history, is the guy everyone's rooting for.
I know, exactly. He's the most likable person in the ring.
Mike Tyson. I don't know a single person who's like, yeah, Jake Paul. Like, that's who I'm pulling for in this fight.
I put money on Jake Paul.
Oh, God. You didn't. Did you really? Did you put money on a rigged sporting event?
If I could bet WWE, I'd bet on The Rock, too.
Good Lord, my guy.
Because, yeah, this is not like a sanctioned fight, right? This
It
is just
is
it
sanctioned.
Yeah, everything he does is
so it
like
I
borderline.
just thought it was an exhibition.
No,
it's all borderline legit.
Yeah,
But so if it's a sanctioned thing, how's it they just change the rules and be like, you know what? Instead of 3-minute rounds, we're going to do 2-minute rounds.
They do.
They agree.
Don't
Get
they?
the sanction to agree to it, or the governing body to agree to it. But yeah,
There's
this
usually like a catch weight. Like I think Jake had to gain a bunch of weight to fight.
yeah, because Tyson's at was it 226 or 246?
I'm not
It was one or the other. Either way, he's old and in insane shape.
Yes, but
Good gravy.
he's 58. That's too old to be fighting.
And he got up and stood on that podium and he manhandled his junk up there, too.
He's talking to Sports Illustrated for kids about death and how he doesn't care about
Yes,
a
we played that
legacy.
yesterday.
Oh, we
for
played
anybody
that,
Which is
Who wants to hear it?
hilarious. But the whole thing is, it's dumb, man. Like, I'm going to watch it. My buddies are all going to get together. We're going to be dumb. We're going to watch it. There's a reason why Netflix was down for it. They wanted to do the whole thing. But, like, isn't everyone, like, interested just because, like, young people hate, young
It's a
people
train
like
wreck.
or hate Jake Paul.
It's a
and
car
old
accident.
people remember Iron Mike, and so they think Iron Mike's going to come back.
I'm an
and
old,
Iron Mike
I
is
remember
not
Iron
coming
Mike
back.
and I hate
I
Jake
will-
Paul
I will
for
tell
both
you,
reasons.
Some of the youngs like Jake.
The single
I don't get
biggest
it.
appointment viewing when I was growing up was Mike Tyson in his prime. Nothing beat it.
And I knew it was a
Nothing.
big deal when it was my wife that texted me the video this morning
Yeah.
of Mike Tyson slapping him.
Yeah, no.
She's like, "Are we watching this tonight?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"You bet your ass we are."
even
It's
growing
free, first of all.
even growing up as poor as I did when I was a really young kid, one of my earliest sports memories is going over to a neighbor's house where everybody kind of pooled their money and bought the $100 pay-per-view Mike Tyson fight.
He was that much back then?
Oh God, yes.
He was that big of a deal. Was it just, but like,
The two biggest things in the world in the late 80s and early 90s. Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson.
But
nothing surpassed those two.
But the thing about Mike Tyson, though, like, is it just because he was such a big knockout artist? Because everything that I understand from like legitimate boxers or like people who love the sport, like I'm obviously a casual fan. I like the big.
He's the
fights.
most violent puncher in the history of the sport.
But he's not the best. Boxer.
He's not. Look,
like he would get destroyed by legit.
Well,
Muhammad Ali would beat him.
Well, yes and no, in the sense of, is Muhammad Ali the best boxer of all time, or Floyd Mayweather the best boxer of all time in the stick and move world sense? Yes. Mike Tyson, though, it's quite literally it only takes one.
So then it's Deontay Wilder Fury again. Like Fury's the better boxer, but Wilder could win at any moment.
But the thing about it is, as hard as Deontay Wilder hits, Mike Tyson is a guy who knocks people out through their gloves. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, when you cover up and put your gloves up,
he punches
He
through.
punches through gloves
Through the
and
block.
knocks guys out. Mike Tyson in his prime was the most terrifyingly violent human being you've ever seen.
Oh no, he bit some dude's ear off.
Yes, I mean it was the thing that you wanted to see, because he would take number one contenders, get in the ring with him, and what was it? He knocked him out in 13 seconds, and it was just like, oh my God.
But then once it went for him, it went. Like
Yeah, no. I mean, when things started to go,
it went
things
south
went
quickly.
sideways real quick.
Like the best thing ever for Mike Tyson is the Hangover movie. If the Hangover movie doesn't happen, this fight doesn't happen.
No, it brought him back to the cultural zeitgeist.
It's the verbal meme where it's the little domino all the way up to the big domino, and it's Mike Tyson getting to be in the Hangover, because
because it made him likable.
Well, also it introduced him to my age group. Like if that doesn't happen and Jake Paul's like, I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson, there'd be a lot of people my age would be like, okay. Like it would be like if Jake went out and was like, I'm gonna go fight Lennox Lewis. You guys are gonna remember Lennox Lewis and be like, oh yeah, Lennox Lewis, he's a champion, he's great, he did this, blah, blah, blah. You'd have my generation, they're like, okay, like it's an old guy. But because it's Mike Tyson and you have The Hangover, and then all of a sudden you go back and who is this Mike Tyson character, and you see all his highlights, you go, oh, that's a bad dude. Then you talk to the previous generation, how much they loved him. You know, then it gets built up into this big fight. But Mike isn't winning. He's 58. Like if he doesn't catch Jake in the first round or two, who in their right mind thinks he wins? He's 58.
That's the whole point. Is like we're sitting here like.
Well, I think that's the whole point of the 2-minute rounds as opposed to 3 minutes.
But also, if he just lands one.
Yeah.
But he's not going to.
But that's,
I know, because Jake Paul's going to dance around and avoid him for 2 minutes every round.
Which is what he's done in a lot of his fights. And get paid. And they're getting so much money. Vancouver Ford text line, Mike Tyson was the last boxer to truly transcend the sport as a cultural phenomenon. Yeah, the closest thing you got was Deontay Wilder when the Bronze Bomber started to like, what was it, like 38 straight?
Oh, he was knocking everyone
38
out.
No, and I believe it was 36 or 37 knockouts.
I mean,
I think he had one TKO.
Well, and then that one, he went back and fought that guy again and knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's the closest I think we've come as a boxer to like. Look, it's great. Floyd Mayweather, terrible human being, one of the most transcendent boxers of all time. But nobody wants to watch Floyd Mayweather not get hit.
Well, and Floyd Mayweather also like. He didn't take big fights, or when he took them, he took it like with Canelo before Canelo was Canelo.
But again,
he took it with Pacquiao after Pacquiao was Pacquiao.
It wasn't even that. It's just he was not a guy. He was a guy who didn't get hit. That was the whole thing. Is like he would just wear you down by slipping everything. But we had our nasty little bit of reality TV pop up. To really push this fight. As at weigh-ins, Mike Tyson slapped Jake Paul, and then we got this from Jake Paul.
I didn't even feel it. He's angry. He's an angry little elf. Mike Tyson, I thought that was a cute slap, buddy, but tomorrow you're getting knocked the out. I'm him up, Burial. I'm him up. He hits like a It's personal now. It's personal now. He must die.
It wasn't personal before.
Well, not only that, I mean...
I hate Jake Paul.
And you're going to call him a little elf? You're like a half an inch taller than him.
Not only that, I've seen better acting in Sharknado. If you watch...
And that had Ian Ziering and Tara Reid.
Yeah. If you watch...
She killed it.
You know, at the weigh-in,
Bring her back.
They do the nose-to-nose, fist-up kind of whole thing. And you've got in the background, and they were talking about this on ESPN earlier because it was the first thing that I noticed. You've got the four hots in the background. And the ring girls, and you know, Mike Tyson slaps Jake Paul, and they don't break their smile one bit. They knew it was coming.
You calling fake?
They knew.
You're calling fake
they
news?
They knew it was coming. Like,
I don't know, Dad.
The whole scream. It's personal now. He's gonna die. Like it's literally it's a speech that's written.
He said it didn't hurt. I believe him.
Now, when Mike Tyson said, "I want to eat his children," that was real and terrifying.
That's because Mike is crazy.
Yes, and they're trying to like gin up
crazy,
the whole idea of Jake Paul being crazy. It's like no. You're getting in the ring with. You know what'd be really funny is if there was. Well, no. What would be very funny is if there is like a script to all of this, and they
Mike
get in,
knocks him
and
out.
Mike says, "Screw this, I'm going off script." And
Back is
just,
broken.
Yes, and he goes out there and breaks Jake Paul's back.
He picks him up, WWE
Just
style. He banes him like in Batman.
But just break his back and go full camel clutch, break his back and make him humble.
I'll tell you what,
that
though.
would be just mwah! Right, now I'm in.
Jake getting
Thanks, Netflix.
My favorite part was like Jake being like, that didn't hurt at all. There's no chance that didn't hurt. There's no chance that
Oh,
did
you mean
not
the
hurt.
handprint that was raising on his face? Yeah, no, he definitely felt that.
It hurt. However, he did take a punch from Mike Tyson.
He didn't take a punch. He took an open-handed slap.
That's
Which,
fair.
And
You know
it
what?
did
That's
knock his
fair.
face
That
sideways.
is- hey, no, I'm not saying it didn't
If
hurt.
you don't think that one of those
I
guys is
believe it
ending
hurt
up
him.
in Dana White's slap boxing league, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
That's
No,
100%
I don't think Jake will. He makes too much money doing this.
You don't think
Jake's gonna keep doing this.
You don't think Dana White's going to be like,
Jake?
Hey, buddy.
Dana's gonna pay him $40 million.
Do you think they got this money out of nowhere? People want to see something happen to him. And the whole idea of him getting slapped that hard that he might get knocked out. That's how much people don't like him.
People don't like Jake.
And look,
I
his,
don't like
to
Jake.
his credit, if I could turn, I mean, I kind of effectively have
I forget.
done that.
Is he the one that that does the prime drinks, or is that his douchebag brother?
That's Logan.
Yeah, but either way, look,
I mean,
they're
it's
both
basically
they're-
6 to 1, half dozen of the
they're
other.
both worth like $11 billion. So
which
yeah,
just pisses me off.
Yeah, that's okay. There's an
It's
8-year
stupid Gen
Look,
Zers.
there's an 8-year-old out there named the Rizzler that makes more than us combined in a day than we make in a year.
The Rizzler's awesome.
He's not.
That's
terrible.
That's a
Little chunky
panther
butt kid.
No, that's the panther dressed in black.
No, it's disgusting.
Don't let
Disgusting
him
stuff.
give your girl the Riz face.
Yeah,
there's no chance she's coming back.
Yeah, it's disgusting, and how anybody even got behind that as anything mildly entertaining.
Because they bring the boom.
No.
Double chunk chocolate cookie.
God, I hate you so much right now. Coming up next, it's time for our worst day on the web, and we talked about these the DNA tests getting stolen. What if your DNA test came back and your wife was actually a family member? Reminisce on that one.
Are
for
we
a
in
second.
Kentucky?
But first, it's a Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
You ever had a Big Kahuna Burger?
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Big Kahuna here with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the #1 Oregon Ducks. They can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game with a win tomorrow at Camp Randall against the Badgers. 4:30 kick on NBC. Coverage right here on the Fan starts with the Center and the Saint Tailgate show at 9 a.m. Ducks game day. Dirt, Dusty, Anthony Newman. That starts at noon, and stick around after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. The Ducks are 14-point favorites. Oregon State looking to end their 4-game losing streak tomorrow in Colorado Springs. They're at the Air Force Academy. 12:30 kick on the CBS Sports Network. The Beavs are 2.5-point favorites. And tonight, UCLA in Seattle facing Washington. 6 o'clock kick on Fox. The Fuskies, 4-point favorites. In the NFL, the Bills, they'll be without tight end Dalton Kincaid Sunday at the Chiefs due to a left knee injury suffered in last week's win over the Colts. Buffalo already without wide receiver Keon Coleman. And on the hard court, the Blazers off until Sunday. That's when they wrap up the homestand against the Hawks. 3 o'clock matinee on K2 Channel 2.2 over the air, Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers then hit the road for a 5-game trip. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
For more than 50 years, PG Long has been the Pacific Northwest's premier choice for floor covering, cleaning, and restoration. By building partnerships with their customers, vendors, and suppliers, they can install quality floor coverings promptly and within your budget.
Dusty
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
on 1080 The Fan. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
We might have to circle back to the Tyson Jake Paul comments on the Vancouver Ford text line because it's pretty good. But today's worst day on the web. Oh boy. DNA test shocks married couple with 3 kids, reveals they are cousins.
Did they not figure it out when they came out with webbed feet?
Says Oxford, Mississippi grad.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is the people are named, which I don't know if I'd want this out here. Selena and Joseph Quiñones, a seemingly happy couple married for over a decade who left reeling after DNA tests revealed an unsettling truth. They are cousins. They took a 23andMe to trace their ancestry, but found themselves questioning the future of their relationship after the shocking discovery. Selena initiated the search in the family tree and was eager to discover some heritage and some physical traits and kind of like, oh, what's going on here? She says, when I saw the results, I was sick to my stomach. Are we supposed to be together?
How I know my cousins. How do they not know they're cousins?
Ooh, buddy. It doesn't say how far away or how far apart they are, which means I think they're pretty close. They only dated for 4 months before getting married. It says despite both families attending the wedding, no one made the connection.
How is that possible?
She even remarked that both her and Joseph's grandmothers had bonded at the wedding, but nothing had clicked at the time.
Do they have dementia already? Like, what's going on here? Like, how is that? How is this possible?
I don't.
How is this possible?
Prior to 23andMe, like, it's probably happened accidentally.
Probably before then it happened on purpose. Like,
we
the
know
Oregon Trail. I've seen the video game.
We know that. Like, it was a real thing. They were inbreeding within or incest was an actual thing. Like,
100%. That's why the kings and queens of all the European countries looks weird.
Yes.
They're all cousins. Like, I understand this, but like, I will never understand how you don't know, like, hey, that's a cousin. Like, how is that possible? How in the world could they be like second or third cousins and like grandma and grandpa didn't like look over there and be like, what's cousin Steve doing here?
That's what I'm saying. That nobody here noticed anything. So to take us a step further.
So then how distant are they?
She says she now feels liberated after going public, after saying, it's kind of a problem. It is what it is. Others can love no matter what. Why can't I love my cousin by accident?
Incorrect.
Whoops.
Can't
they have now launched a dating platform called Before We Be, aimed at preventing individuals from unknowingly entering relationships with their relatives.
Do I have to swipe right on this one?
Good Lord. Like, I guess you submit a DNA test to let them know ahead of time?
Absolutely not. Nope. I'm woke to this. This is the NSA trying to get my information.
This is how they get you?
This is how they get you. I am woke to this. What? I don't understand the 31andMe or whatever, DNA and me, whatever's going on.
23andMe.
Whatever.
That's the amount of chromosomes.
Well,
don't care.
At least for most of us.
Don't.
Okay, well, let's not go down.
That was very rude of you. And there's a group of people that I hope come after you. It would be a shame if they attacked you verbally.
Probably a larger percentage of that in Kentucky and such. But
is that where this is from? Look, all I'm saying is, I'm not doing any stupid DNA test. I'm also not marrying my cousin. It's not that hard. You know who your family is. If you start going down the family tree, maybe date someone for more than 4 months before you're like, let's
I'll tell you
tie
right
the
now.
knot.
I mean, number one, my wife and I are definitely not related. She's super Italian. I am not. But my family tree stops after like 2 generations. So
So then how related are they?
Who?
These people.
They're like cousins. Like, but here's the thing: like, you could have like a massive family, like just an enormous family, and you'd be like, yeah, well,
our family isn't that small, and I still know. Like, I know the cousins that I never see.
I'm just saying.
I wouldn't accidentally like. I just don't know how this is possible. I don't know. I think they knew, or this is the government trying to get my DNA.
That's all it says.
It's one of the two. They're either the biggest idiots on the planet,
targeting Willow. I mean, look,
or it's the government trying to get
clearly
your
both
DNA.
families are stupid. So maybe this isn't the first time this has happened, because neither family noticed.
You think like they're not the only people in the family?
That might
There's like 3 or 4 other.
Yeah,
there's like some 3 or 4 other cousins.
You're looking around going,
well,
wait a
look,
second.
it's probably a couple of generations of dad went out to go buy a pack of cigarettes and never came home. To be fair, you know what I mean?
Oh, this is like a step cousin type of deal.
Well, you know, like I said, I mean, this could be 2 generations ago, and people just and they got no idea who's related to whom.
That's true, because back then, like, if you wanted to get away from your family, you just had to go 2 towns over. Like, if once you got like the 30s, like just go 3 towns over, you're fine. No one's gonna come after you. No one will figure it out. Get a haircut, you'll be good. I just
get a haircut, you'll be good.
Well, this is true. Like, they didn't have pictures back then, really. It's just drawings.
This is an interesting one. I don't know if this
everybody looks like DB Cooper.
That's right.
I've been to Iceland a couple different times. Number one, shout out if you ever want a absolutely righteous vacation trip, Iceland. Portland now flies directly to Reykjavik. So, but I
did hear one time too that apparently Greenland and Iceland should be named the opposite.
Yes,
and that Greenland is like the big land of ice, and Iceland is actually very
nice.
green and beautiful. And yeah, I watched that Eurovision movie.
No, dude.
With Will Ferrell and what's her name, Rachel McAdams.
No, it's
tremendous.
Mighty Ducks 2.
Yeah, I'm too old for Mighty Ducks.
That was the line.
I'm too old for Mighty
Greenland
Ducks.
is actually covered with ice, but Iceland is very nice.
Yeah. I'm too old for Mighty Ducks.
That was the hot blonde.
I'm not too old for Emilio, but I'm too old for
Emilio.
Mighty Ducks.
But the reason I'm bringing up Iceland, Vancouver Fort text line. In Iceland, couples are required to do a DNA test before getting married to ensure that they're not related, since there are so few bloodlines on the island. Now, I didn't not know that they were required to do that, and I don't know if I can verify that. But I do know that Icelandic DNA is rare. Like, they actually have genetic records because they have protected their
the Viking heritage.
I would just say, Suk maybe looks a certain way. Because those
January 6th.
those genetic lines have been protected for 1,000 years. Okay, they're not like, they're very, very, very like linear, and there's records going back 1,000 years of whiteness. Just throwing that out there. They are quite literally some of the most protected genes in the world. They have not intermingled, and they have not.
Well, they got to get off the island. That's hard.
Well, they didn't, and when they did, they rape and pillage, and that was what kind of spread the.
Is that why I look Irish?
There you go.
But I'm huge.
Yeah, you see exactly.
Like, wait a minute.
But yeah, it's a rare, distinct thing that kind of comes from that. But it would also make sense because there's like, I want to say there's something like 50 different lines from Iceland that they can trace back. Like literally 1,000 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That all of this being said, though, you can't marry your cousin. You have to get divorced. Right?
I mean, they're not. They're happy.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's probably going to wind up in, or should wind up in annulment.
Right? You would hope.
Yeah.
There are currently in Iceland 380,000 direct descendants, like never left, always been there. Icelandic people.
They should travel more. Like, I heard Iceland's cool, but like, I mean, at one point, don't you just see the whole island?
Here's the thing. Do you know how big the actual population of the country is?
No, it's pretty small, isn't it?
It's 393,000. So almost the
it's
entire...
like not even Portland.
So no, God, I mean, it's Beaverton and Hillsborough.
It's Beaverton and Hillsborough, and probably you throw in Aloha.
Sure,
Yeah.
well, I guess we'll give them that.
Yeah.
That's
And they're all just
Well, because
marrying
Beaverton and
their
Hillsborough, those are both
cousins.
like just a little over 100.
Just marrying their cousins.
They're not, though. That's the thing, is they're keeping that separate.
But so then, like, all you're doing is arranged marriages. Then,
But that's what they did forever. Now you're picking up what I'm putting down.
they don't believe in love.
No, but they do believe in winning strongman competitions.
Yeah, because there's a lot of money in that.
Well, that and then, and volcanic ash like hot springs.
And on
Which,
their-
by the way,
on their hinge, they have the
fantastic.
family tree that gets mapped out.
Mhm.
And they're like, all right,
There you
this
go.
one, this one.
So there you go. That's our worst day.
Yeah, there could be.
Vancouver Ford text line question.
It's a great one.
How hot is she?
Incorrect. Bad. That is bad.
And how
Don't
far are
do
we
that.
here? Second, how many times
Bad.
removed?
Bad.
It does not say, which I think
No.
means it's probably pretty close.
No. Bad. All of you bad. Don't marry your cousin.
Also, my family on my mom's side is gigantic. I have cousins I've never met.
But
Yeah,
they
like, I
would
don't-
stop you from marrying your cousin.
I mean, if you didn't know and you didn't get the invite to the
Only if
wedding,
you know.
look, I'm just saying, like,
You just don't ask, don't tell marriage. That's what you did.
Bury your head in the sand.
Don't ask,
I'm an
don't
ostrich.
tell marriage. That's what you did. If I don't ask if she's my cousin, she can't be my cousin.
it's crazy. All right, coming up next, I think I might have found the most valuable trading card in all of existence. We'll get to that and more coming up here on Dan and Dusty, today the Fan.
It's
Well, once was enough for Paul Skeens. It is his debut rookie patch autograph card. It is a one-of-one card that is currently in circulation.
It's a sweet card.
It's a sweet card. It is so valuable that the Pittsburgh Pirates team itself is offering, if you give them the card, if you find it, they will give you 2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years.
Look, let's face it, that doesn't cost him a damn thing.
A softball game for 30.
A privately held softball game for 30 people with Pirates alumni at PNC Park.
Okay, so fantasy camp.
Yes.
A meet and greet with Paul Skeens.
Okay.
2 Paul Skeens
Maybe
autographed
Livy Dunn.
jerseys. A private tour of Pirate City and Lecom Park. And a bunch of other unique experiences which they aren't calling out yet.
Yeah.
Look, 2 season tickets directly behind home
I
plate
get it.
for
Ooh.
30 years? That's
get it.
pretty rad. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
you get to take batting practice and warm up with the team.
What is
Yeah.
this verbiage about
That's
directly
sick.
behind home plate? Are we talking first row, second row, 15th row, 30th row?
That certainly matters.
Are we talking upper deck directly behind home plate?
Look,
let's
I
get
don't-
real
I don't
here.
want the Pirates ever giving me an upper decker. It's not okay.
All that rum they
Just
drink.
do it in the
for
tank,
sure.
man.
Right? Come on. Just don't block the bilge pumps. But Paul Skeens is his hot. Livy Dunn, LSU gymnast.
Is Paul Skeens Livy's hot? I think he might be Miss Livy Dunn. Mister,
I
sorry.
mean, I don't think he'd
Yeah.
have a problem with that. to be
would he have
honest.
to? Would he have to change his name at the ceremony?
I think he's worth more now than she is.
I think
but,
she's worth more now. He might be worth more later.
We'll have to check because she's worth a lot. Don't get me wrong.
She's worth a lot.
That Viore money's no joke.
I think his staying power, because he could become the greatest pitcher of all time, would bump him above her potentially.
Because the baseball money's bonkers.
But is she going to be the TikTok star that survives?
See, as much money as she's made, her estimated net worth is like $7 million.
So then, yeah, he might be okay.
Because look, I am going to sound like the worst human on the face of the planet right now. As much money as she has made, she didn't make the OnlyFans money.
Well, she's not going to do that.
No,
but
and I get it. I'm not saying she should or anything like that. But like, I think I've said this before on air. I know somebody who's in that world. She made $25 million last year.
Good for her. She want to help me out? I got some brutal car payments right now. I'd appreciate it.
Okay, she made 20 on the OnlyFans. She made 5 in endorsements.
See, but I don't think that Livy needs to go down that path.
No, I
because
don't.
Livy's gonna turn into like this generation's version of like a reality TV star.
Yeah, she'll have the staying power of like a Martha Stewart. Like she'll
Without having to go to prison.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe she needs to go to prison later on in life to kind of like
like after her and Paul Skeens break
yeah,
up.
you get the
but
rebound.
He's an Air Force
Yeah,
guy,
no,
so
he's
like,
not- yeah,
he's pretty straight and narrow. I wonder. I just like each generation has their like crew of like 4 or 5 people that stuck around.
Oh, this
because
is the power couple with massive staying power. Are you
right.
kidding me?
They'll be around forever, but they will have a TV show. They will have a Hulu TV show or a Bravo TV show
TLC.
or an E. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like what was the Jessica Simpson show with Lachey? Oh God,
The Simpsons.
no. They had a
That's not what's on Fox.
I forget what it was called too, but it was
It'll
Jessica
be like
Simpson and Nick Lachey.
It'll be their version of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Newlyweds.
There we go.
Newlyweds. That's what I was like.
They'll have their own thing.
Yeah, they'll have their version of that. Vancouver Ford text line, will Livy Dunn get to sit with me? And the reason I bring up Livy Dunn, because other than the fact that she's a hot, she has also said, let's raise the stakes. The person who finds the card gets to sit with me at a Pirates game in my suite. It's funny that she says in my suite, as in like, because she's, you know, Paul Skeens' woman.
Right.
She gets her own suite.
Of
It's like,
course.
and she's Livy Dunn. But yes.
It's going to be a bunch of knuckle dragging mouth breathers that want to wind up in that suite with her.
There's a lot of dudes especially a lot of dudes my age who dress and act like me that are like, if I get in that booth with her, I'm gonna take her from Paul Skeens.
See, exactly.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
That's
There's
my whole
a
point.
lot
That's
of dudes.
That is the demographic that is going to go for this, and they'll be like, "Hey, look,
it's me."
Yeah, they're
This
like,
is designed for me.
That's the dude that goes into the strip club and is like, "Hey,
She
I
really
think she really dug me." Yeah.
As
me her real
opposed,
name.
as opposed to the 6'6" former Air Force Academy / world-class pitcher.
The best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah.
He's going to win the Rookie of the Year and the NL Cy Young.
Just as an
only gonna
aside
get
here, you're old enough to remember. Do you know who Justin Verlander's wife is?
Oh yeah, I'm well aware of Kate Upton.
Okay.
I'm well aware.
Justin Verlander, not the best looking dude on the face of the planet, but he was an AL Cy Young winner and an absolute monster of a pitcher. And it worked out well for him. I'm just gonna say, when you're the best pitcher on the planet type of guy, you're not losing out.
No, Paul Skeens is going to be just
Paul Skeens.
fine.
Look, Livy Dunn ain't leaving Paul Skeens. You can all keep that dream to yourself.
I also don't think that he's leaving her.
No, like Verlander.
Like you don't
you've outkicked your coverage.
She doesn't go up from him. I don't know that he goes up from her.
I mean, there's a weird thing about baseball dudes, man. But look at you. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. Okay, think about this for a split second. Derek Jeter, good looking guy. Look, and if you can't say that,
Great looking dude.
Okay, but is he great looking?
Yeah.
See,
He's a good looking dude.
I disagree. It's
great bald head.
Look, what makes him great or great looking was that he was the captain, the skipper of the Yankees.
He won a lot. He's a good looking dude.
But again, we're not talking about Cristiano Ronaldo.
No. No, you're right.
Good looking dude.
You're right.
But there's the je ne sais quoi of being shortstop for the Yankees, which is why his roster of women is the most unmatched. Like, you want to talk about success? That's the most successful tract a man has ever had. And nobody will ever match up to the girlfriends that Derek Jeter
The
had.
ESPN starting 9 is one of the funnier graphics of all time.
Nobody will touch it.
If you haven't seen it,
nobody will touch it.
Just remember that got played live on air for ESPN.
Yeah, you know why?
Hilarious.
You know why? Because every dude on the planet is looking at that going, how is that possible? And there's, regardless of where baseball sits in the cultural world of Americans, there's still a draw, man.
I'm not saying there's not a draw.
I'm just saying it's still a draw, and it's like, I'm not saying this to deflate Livy Dunn. I'm just saying that if they didn't work out, I bet you Paul Skeens would pull another ridiculously insane, out of this world hot.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Livy Dunn at the peak of her powers, right now, when Livy Dunn endorses anything, women, younger women and girls her age, they buy it. They love Livy Dunn, and dudes love Livy Dunn, but for different reasons.
Look, man, I've got some Viore pants at home that I almost wore this morning.
I don't think he can find someone that matches the star power that she has with the attraction that she has with the, I don't want to say power over a generation that she has. She is the girl.
She's the barometer of
for
that generation.
26 to 16-year-old women and girls right now.
And look, let's face it, this is not exactly a new thing where athletes and rock stars get hots.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right, no, 100%.
So,
and they could break up, and the next girlfriend for him will be hot, and her next boyfriend will be hot, and they will be successful in their own way. I just don't think that he would find someone that has everything that she has, just like she wouldn't find someone that has everything that he has. You might find a more attractive person, but they won't make as much money. Or you'll find someone that makes more money, but they won't be quite as attractive. That's all I'm saying.
I disagree. Coming up next,
fair.
There aren't a ton of big-time NFL matchups this week, but there are a couple that we really need to pay attention to, particularly in the NFC West, where I would say the fight for supremacy, but it's fight for not being that bad. There's a key matchup that we're going to dive into in the Seahawks and 49ers here in hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
The Fan.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland. An Odyssey Sports Station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust here with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, the number 1 Oregon Ducks can clinch a spot in the Big Ten Championship with a win tomorrow at Camp Randall against the Badgers. 4:30 kick on NBC. Coverage right here on The Fan starts with the Center and the State Tailgate Show at 9 a.m. Ducks Game Day with Dirt, Dusty, and Anthony Newman starts at noon, and stick around after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. The Ducks are 14-point favorites. Oregon State looking to end a 4-game losing streak tomorrow in Colorado Springs against Air Force. 12:30 kick on the CBS Sports Network. The Beavs are 2.5-point favorites. And tonight, UCLA in Seattle facing Washington. 6 o'clock kick on Fox. The Fuskies 4-point favorites. In the NFL, the Bills, they'll be without tight end Dalton Kincaid Sunday at the Chiefs due to a left knee injury suffered in last week's win over the Colts. Buffalo already without wide receiver Keon Coleman. And in the association, the Blazers off until Sunday when they wrap up the homestand against the Hawks. A 3 o'clock matinee on K2 Channel 2.2 over the air, Xfinity Channel 302. The Blazers then hit the road for a 5-game trip. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's The Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan. It's Football Friday on The Fan.
Block somebody!
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app, follow 1080 The Fan, and enable push notifications to get the latest on the Ducks, Beavers, Blazers, and more.
Football Friday with Danny and Dusty on 1080.
Take the fight to them.
The Fan.
And with me here on Danny and Dusty on a Football Friday, Will Ortner in for Dusty Hara. Dusty on his way to Madison, Wisconsin for the Oregon Ducks taking on the Wisconsin Badgers, which you can catch here tomorrow. What time's kickoff?
4:30.
4:30. There you go. This coverage starts at?
Live coverage starts at 9 a.m. with the Center and the Saint Tailgate Show. You can catch Ducks Game Day at noon with Dirt, Dusty, and Anthony Newman taking you right up to kickoff. And then after network coverage, stick around for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show.
Look at that.
That'll feature me. I'll tell you what, I'll be watching the Game Day Show like right there, right outside the studios. It'll be my face pressed against the glass, at least till the pilot game starts.
It's like those old, what was it? Was it Macy's ads or Kohl's or JCPenney or something with the lady tapping the glass? Open. Yeah.
I'm going to sit outside and be like, great point, guys.
Yeah,
great point.
Wasn't that the Black Friday ad?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, but I forget who it was. It was something like Macy's, Bed Bath and Beyond, JCPenney. Yeah,
the one that sticks out in my head is the SNL where Eddie Murphy is like Gumby and it's Christmas and he kicks the girl out.
Yeah, I'm Gumby, bitch.
And the girl has to sit outside the window while everyone else is enjoying it.
Doesn't exist anymore.
What?
Mervyn's.
What's a Mervyn's?
Yeah, that was a
Washington Square.
Yeah, Washington Square, another department store, a little bit.
Mall?
Yeah.
You know, a step or so below the Macy's, and perhaps a touch above Sears and JCPenney.
Yeah. It was a higher end.
Are Sears gone? Sears are gone?
They're not all gone.
Not at Washington Square anymore.
They're not, then they have.
They're not around here. They're not at the Vancouver Mall.
No. I used to get the Sears catalog that was.
Oh yeah. Oh, we go
30
through there. We'd
thick.
circle stuff for toys for Christmas. Like, Mom, I want this. Buy me this one.
It's no wonder they went out of business, considering they spent $30 billion a year on
exactly.
print.
Look at these 157-page catalogs that we send everybody on the planet.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god.
All full color glossy pages. Yeah.
Am I the only one that still goes to the mall?
No.
For like Christmas
No, you're
shopping?
not. My kids love going to the mall.
Look, my wife ran a Nordstrom for a decade.
Yeah.
So she will never quit that.
Yeah. We go hit the Lego store, Lolly and Pops.
And to be totally honest,
Get some Auntie Annie's pretzels.
Orange Julius.
Orange Julius is great. But we're old enough to where we're never going to be completely divorced from going to buy things as opposed to buying everything online.
Yeah.
Like the generation behind
and
us.
there's a lot of stuff that I buy online.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's still And the reason it will never go away, particularly with like clothes, you want to go touch and feel and try stuff on. Now, some people are lunatics and they just, if it doesn't fit, they just send it back and they just buy
I don't know
everything
how
online.
people do that.
That drives me like
I don't know how you do that.
But
Better person than me.
I don't like going all the time, but I do enjoy going to the mall with my wife. Like
See-
that is a fun thing that we do.
I don't like it at all, but I am a notorious procrastinator, especially when it comes to gift time. Like, do not be shocked to find me at the Vancouver Mall on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, dating ourselves a little bit, Jeff. That open commercial. Guess when it came out?
Oh shit! Darn it! There we go. Oh darn! Late '90s. That's my first one.
Wow.
In all these years, my first one in all these years that has slipped out.
Shout out that dump button.
There we go. Yeah, there's the dump button.
Oh,
yeah, my
so-
first one in all these years. I'm gonna go. Is it Are we pre-turn of the century?
Yes.
Yeah.
1992.
There we. Oh, I was even still in high school.
That came out. Let's see, quick math. 5 years
Before
before,
you were born.
Born.
Yeah, 1992. That'd be my sophomore year in high
I
school.
I remember that commercial
well-
very vividly.
I guess if it was 92, the fall season, so that would have made it. Yeah, no, my sophomore year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like burned into my head. that
I'm
lady
old.
tapping on the glass. Open. Again, I definitely would not have said.
I made it 17 years here before my first on-air curse word.
There you go. Congratulations.
There we go. I hope that got dumped.
And I'm not gonna lie, like you said it, and that it shows you how much I cuss like a sailor. Like you said it, and I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep going. And then I saw your face, and I was like, oh, that's right,
It's a good
naughty.
record. Now we need the sign in here. It says 0 days since Russ cursed on the air.
Well, the Vancouver
Days
Ford text line
without cussing.
isn't saying anything, so I think the
think
dump
we're
button
okay.
worked.
I was gonna
There
say
we go.
I don't see anything on the Vancouver Ford text line. I don't see anything on the YouTube chat. I think you're okay.
Well, I think it would go out over YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, it would. It
Yeah.
would go out over YouTube.
I know, but they would like say something like, "Oh, mistake."
Well,
Because
I
like,
think YouTube and even like the on the app, I believe too.
Which
I
aren't
think the only
regulated-
thing the dump button
Yeah.
does is for the over the air.
Yes, the FCC mandated
Yes.
one because
Because George
everything
Carlin
else
gave
doesn't
us
matter.
those 7
Says-
special words.
says you didn't say it. Vancouver Ford text line.
Hey, sweet.
You got dumped. You caught it.
Everything we blame for a minute.
I'm not getting
Yay.
fired today, Kirk.
if you didn't hear it, was it really said? It's like holding.
Perfect.
If you didn't get a flag, did you really hold?
Exactly.
It was just a long pause on the terrestrial radio. Perfect. Which I think now is the time to go
What
to
were
another,
we talking about here?
another long pause as we got. We'll flip back around
Wisconsin Badgers.
and 49ers Seahawks.
right.
49ers
Yes, 49ers Seahawks. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty Today, the Fan. Chiefs and the Bills. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
This is a Football Friday edition of Danny and Dusty.
Brought to you by the Odyssey app.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, the number one Oregon Ducks can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game with a win tomorrow at Camp Randall against Wisconsin. 4:30 kick on NBC. Coverage here on the Fan starts with the Sinner and the Saint tailgate show at 9 a.m. Ducks game day with Dirt, Dusty, Anthony Newman. That starts at noon, and stick around after network coverage for the Ducks post-game scoreboard show. Oregon are 14-point favorites. Oregon State looking to end a 4-game losing streak tomorrow in Colorado Springs against the Air Force Academy. 12:30 kick on the CBS Sports Network. The Beavs are 2.5-point favorites. And tonight, UCLA in Seattle facing Washington. That's a 6 o'clock kick on Fox. The Washington Huskies are 4-point favorites. In the association, Blazers off until Sunday. That's when they wrap up the homestand against the Hawks. 3 o'clock matinee on K2 Channel 2.2 over the air. Xfinity Channel 302. Blazers then hit the road for a 5-game trip. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's the Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Auto accident? Worried about your deductible?
Maybe it's because I'm in the throes of the NBA basketball season. But this Bills-Chiefs game doesn't seem to have the same juice as it's had in the past. Do you feel that, even though you're coming in with two really good teams and the Chiefs are undefeated? Is it because Patrick Mahomes hasn't been otherworldly, the Chiefs are winning games and by some sort of pomp and circumstance, some level of like Warlockian luck?
Is it because it's not the top game? Is it because the Ravens and Steelers game means more? Because I don't disagree with you.
Because this, like, they're both really good.
Is it also one of those things
It's
where
the
it's
two
just
best
like,
teams in the
they're inevitable?
Has it become that they're boring? Are the Chiefs boring now?
They are boring. I mean, this is not the Chiefs when they first popped onto the scene.
No,
the Chiefs that first popped onto the scene were winning because the offense was
explosive.
electric.
Yeah,
this offense is two thumbs meh. Like right now,
I don't think
Mahomes
it's meh. I think it's below meh.
Right now, Mahomes has 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Like they're not running the ball well. They need Pacheco back.
The whole thing about Mahomes, him being inevitable,
figured it out.
all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He has been bad, not okay. He has been bad.
It's the worst he's looked ever.
And not even just like for him. He's been bad. He's been Daniel Jones-esque for long portions of games. Now, he's had a couple of drives that you're like, oh, God, I hate this SOB. Like, it's just, the inevitable part of it.
Right.
But everything leading up to it, there's been tremendously awful. And you're like, what the hell is going on here?
Some of it, too, though, is the weapons around him. Like, in the revamped Kansas City Chiefs, everyone talks about the defense because they are elite right now. And,
Yes.
and that's why they won the Super Bowl last year. And if they win the Super Bowl this year, that's why they're going to do it.
Because Chris Jones was a demon.
And what they're doing with McDuffie and the rest of that secondary, like, they're awesome. But the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, at least the middle three, are just road graders. There's a reason why Creed Humphreys is talked about as being one of the best centers in all of football. That dude's just an animal. He can pass pro with the best of them. He gets out in space. It's why Pacheco, you saw him take a big step forward last year, is because the two guards in the center, the holes that those guys are creating makes it easier for Pacheco to just find the gap and just hit it hard. They're not getting the same run game right now, so that means teams aren't committing as many guys into the box. But the other thing is, you've seen this offense, not that it was humming on all cylinders, but it took a significant step back once you lost Rashee Rice, because I don't think right now anyone on that team can really stretch the defense. Like even Xavier Worthy, who is the fastest man who's ever run at the combine. That's a fact. Just look at his stats, when it comes to his 40. Does he scare you when he goes deep? Because he doesn't scare me. He's not beating anybody. What they're doing a lot right now is just methodical driving the football. I mean, Travis Kelce seems to be kind of back to being where he was last year, but he's not making big plays where he's running away from people. He's nickel and diming you. And that's what this team is doing. And that's why they're able to win, because they can trust that their defense is going to get the job done. And then they will put up just enough points to get the win. So I think some of it too, like the shine is worn off, but they're also not at like peak Chiefs, where if like that offense was humming, I think people would watch either because they wanted to see greatness or because they were going to hate watch them, much like, the New England Patriots before Tom Brady had that second resurgence where they win the 4 Super Bowls or whatever it was, 3 Super Bowls, the second 3 Super Bowls that he won.
It's an interesting contrast, because what ends up happening is the Bills win in the regular season, the Chiefs win in the playoffs, and we rinse and repeat. Is there anything that happens in this game for the Bills that if they do it, you're like, maybe they've gotten over that hump? Or are we at the point where with both of these franchises, it's the Chiefs owning the Bills and when it matters the most, i.e. playoffs, and there's nothing that comes out of this that ultimately ends up being some sort of underlying point or thing that you can build upon for the Bills going into the playoffs?
Yeah, but if you're a Bills fan, do you want to win this game?
Yes.
What happens if you play them again in the playoffs and you lose?
Sucks. Sucks to suck, man.
Like,
you always want to win.
Yes, you do always want to win, and I know it's a dumb conversation, but isn't that kind of why no one cares about this game either? Because if the Bills win, it doesn't matter for them. Like, do you think of Josh Allen differently? No. Do you think of McDermott differently? No. Right now, you're at a point where the Kansas City should really only care about things that happen in the playoffs. And I kind of think Buffalo's in that space too. Like you thought it was going to be a reloading year, possibly like you're exceeding expectations with all the assets that you had to dump off, all the good players defensively, all the good players offensively. Josh Allen has been able to keep you at a high level. And your running game with James Cook right now, they're running the ball with some of the best teams in the NFL. That offensive line is just mauling people, and that's opening things up for Josh Allen and actually making his life easier. That's why you see his interception numbers going down, because he's not trying to force the ball as much as he used to be. But if the Bills beat the Chiefs, that's not going to lead to McDermott getting more money. That's not going to lead to Josh Allen being an MVP. So I think another reason about this why people aren't as excited.
I think if they are,
I think it's Lamar's to lose right now.
I think if Josh Allen, goes out there and knocks off the Chiefs, and they are the team that does it, that does add some weight to it, because they are undefeated and they have found a way. And you look at, and the thing about Mahomes is that it's been interesting. Just go and look at his Pro Football Focus data. His passing grades, his best passing grades, guess who they're against?
It's the better teams.
No, it's not. It's not.
Really?
No, his best passing grades are against the bad teams. It's against Tampa Bay. It's against Baltimore. It's against the Raiders. His 3 best passing grades are against those teams. Against the Tampa Bay team that was missing their secondary. Against the Baltimore team that can't stop a running nose. Might be I believe they're actually the worst passing defense in the NFL. And then the Raiders, who, good Lord, what an ass show. If you look at his worst passing grades, San Francisco, Denver, Atlanta, Cincinnati.
Good defenses.
Cincinnati has been one of those things where they should be better, but just kind of looking at his production, it's kind of like seeing God bleed a bit, in the sense of like, oh. And I think this is kind of the Brady-esque type stuff. The bar gets set so high that normal or even above average becomes meh.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the bar is, because the Chiefs have won back-to-back, and they're looking to go to the third,
repeat, yeah.
Be the first team to do that.
Be their fourth.
But if you look at where Mahomes is ranking right now, he's 10th in the league in attempts. He's not firing it all over the park. He's 12th in total yards. He's 10th in touchdowns, and he's tied for 4th with the 4th most interceptions. That's a slightly above average quarterback.
Yeah, but I think there's always the belief, because he is who he is. Like, he'll turn it off.
Look, he has earned the benefit of the doubt. 100%. There is no doubt. But the actual performances, the totality of what he has done this season,
it's average.
It's just slightly above average.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is buoyed off of 2 games.
With some dumb turnover mistakes.
Yes.
With some really, really bad.
The Tampa Bay game, he got a quarter of his touchdowns in that game.
Right.
3 touchdowns when he threw for he threw for 291, right? Yeah. Almost these big chunk games, he's got 2 games where he's thrown under $150 or $154 and $151.
Right.
Then he's got 1 300-yard passing game on the season.
And again, some of that, like I said earlier, is
they have a
better run game. Yeah. Obviously, it's taken a step back with Pacheco, right? He's out. When he gets back, it'll go back to what it was last year, where you saw the big explosion in that run game.
And Kelsey's a year older, and they're not relying on him.
Taking another step back.
They're looking at Noah more.
They don't have a wide receiver threat. And that's what's going to kill them. They had Rice.
Look, at Hopkins, can he be that guy? He's shown some flashes, certainly.
100%.
But you look at this game, and if the Bills win, I think it becomes going back to the whole making God bleed kind of thing. They're not invincible, and I don't think anybody truly thinks they are, because of all the games that they've won, how many times have they been in control of the game the entire time?
Right.
They've had the secret sauce. They've earned that, and in all the closing moments, they're the ones that have out-executed.
They're definitely playing with fire, though.
That's kind of what I was getting to.
They're definitely
This isn't BYU of I don't know if this is for real. It's just they're playing with fire. And I think the Bills are a team that very likely are the ones that can sneak up on them.
I just want this out there. If anyone thinks that this is the Bills, they have to win this game, and if they win this game, it validates everything, I don't think that it does, because there are certain teams where I don't think the regular season matters anymore for you. You don't get any more accolades. You don't get talked about in a different light. When you talk about Detroit, if Detroit wins out the rest of their games but loses in their first playoff game, it will be a disappointing year. If Kansas City doesn't win the Super Bowl, it will be a disappointing year. If this Buffalo Bills team goes into the playoffs and again loses to Kansas City or doesn't get to a Super Bowl, it's a disappointing year for them. And I think that's because the expectations changed after how well they've performed so far this season. So if you go into this being like, this is the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, it just isn't. If they're playing the Carolina Panthers, it's their Super Bowl 100%. This isn't the Bills Super Bowl.
No, they're above that. But
they would rather get housed by 50 in this game and beat Kansas City in the playoffs.
But you still don't want to have that happen either, because then you have
no, of course not.
All the other
And
stuff that hangs over that.
It's a silly thing to say, like, do they really want to win this game? Of course they want to win this game. I'm just using it in a way of framing the conversation to my greater point of they're a good football team. This game, they could win this game and it would not change how anyone views them. It's about postseason success for them now.
I believe that's fair. All right, we've got some breaking news about the NBA All-Star Game and what path they may head down to. And we'll wrap up today's show with that here on Danny and Dusty, Today the Fan.
It's time for a Blazers report on the Fan. The inside story on the Portland Trailblazers. Brought to you by Aztec Willie's Taqueria.
Dear sweet Jesus, thank you for 3 days off for the Portland Trailblazers. I am exhausted, which means there is no way those guys aren't. After a brutal 13-game stretch to start the season, Trailblazers get 3 glorious days off before resuming play again on Sunday, a little matinee actually against the Atlanta Hawks coming to town before the Trailblazers go out on the road, in which they will face 13 games in 25 days. It'll be a tough road to hoe. This is why we talk so much about the first 30 games being so detrimental. The Portland Trailblazers 5-8 right now, still sitting at the bottom of the Western Conference, but oh my goodness, they are not in the very bottom of the NBA, and they're out of the Cooper flag race already. How angry will everybody get? Find out more on Sunday. Yeah, just wait and see, folks. Plenty of time for them to bottom out. This Trailblazers Report on the Fan is brought to you by Aztec Willie's Taqueria, the best place to go before and after games or any event. Check them out on the corner of Southeast 15 and Broadway or at AztecWillies.com.
Aztec Willie's Taqueria has been Portland's destination for
The NBA is trying to fix their NBA All-Star Game problem. That's a real thing.
Well, because they don't care.
No, and they are now suggesting the competition committee is meeting today, and now a 4-team tournament for the 2025 All-Star Game consists of 3 teams of 8 All-Stars each, and the winner of the Rising Stars game. So it kind of becomes a round-robin thing where they're going to make it a little bit more competitive, add a little juice to it.
Are they though? Like, are they gonna? I think they should put home court advantage on it, just like baseball.
Baseball, yeah,
just because it'd be funny.
No, they'll put some money into the pot, which has already kind of made a difference in the NBA Cup. Like
the floors were cool, dude.
Look, there's some atrocious ones. Oh, the Blazers is getting universally rave reviews.
I really like it.
It looked good. I've already seen.
Have they named the WNBA team?
No, you won't get the Portland one probably until next summer.
Can they be called Rose City? Like Rose City.
I would imagine they probably end up going down that line of thinking. I think they'll go down that line of thinking.
That's so much cooler than just like.
But you also have to remember.
Do they then go and make it the Rose City Rain?
Well, I mean,
not RAIN, but REIGN.
Yeah, but again, do you tie the Rose stuff together because the same ownership group owns the Thorns?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, do they want them to be co-branded, or do they want them?
Stems.
Do they want them to be separate? I mean, it's an argument you could go back and forth.
I guess between those two, it's about but like most of the vast majority of the WNBA teams are co-branded with their NBA.
Yes, likenesses. That was because of that's how they started, and they wanted to kind of be that way. I still think they should have probably literally been like the Lady Lakers kind of a deal. Like they should have co-branded the actual stuff.
They want to.
I know.
Stuff. They want to get away from all the lady.
I'm not saying that that's part of the branding. I'm saying that just use the actual branding. It's the same thing.
I just like Rose City. If we ever get the baseball team, if the Portland Diamond Project is able to bring home baseball, fingers crossed, really hope.
Yeah.
So I would like them to be called the Rose City. Whatever. I just think that's it's
a nice moniker.
It's more memorable. Everyone's Portland, everyone's Seattle. Be Rose City.
No,
man.
it's a nice little touch. All right, that'll do it for us today. We'll get ready to hand you off here to Isaac and Suk here for Primetime on a Football Friday edition. I'm sure they'll have all of the good things for you. Thank you for joining us this week. Dusty, again, out in Madison for Wisconsin, Oregon. He'll be back on Monday, hopefully. Knock on wood. Will, thanks for stepping in. Appreciate you always.
Having me. Always appreciate it.
Jeff Russ, quick with the dump button today. We appreciate you.
Yeah, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I broke my cherry today.
Hey. All right. You all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy all of footballs. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.